logging in.
Shannon, do you want, Angela, you're taking care of that
Yes,
today. Thanks.
I would be happy to. Welcome commissioners, liaisons, and members of the public to the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission meeting. Thank you for joining us. We are using Zoom with the goal to foster a more inclusive environment and effective meeting. If you would like to comment during the meeting, please use the raised hand feature. Please utilize this tool to virtually indicate that you would like to speak in order to help the chair facilitate the discussion. A friendly reminder that this is a video conference and to please be aware of your surroundings behind you. All Legal Services Trust Fund Commission and committee meetings will be recorded and posted to the State Bar website. Zoom captioning is available. To enable, select live transcript at the bottom of your Zoom screen, then select enable auto transcription. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for that. How are we doing on quorum?
We're not there yet. We only
Okay.
have 7. We had a high number of RSVPs for this meeting, so I hope we make it.
Oh, maybe people are still.
And it just turned 12. I mean, I think some of us were.
Let's see. How many are we missing, Dawn?
I think we're 1 away. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have quorum yet.
Well, can we do kind of introductions of new folks while we're waiting? Okay.
Can I say something?
Oh,
I had
yeah, of
an email
course.
this morning saying that this meeting was canceled.
What? Oh,
That was
At
for the,
8:03 a.m. from Kim.
that
Good
was for,
morning, blah, blah, blah. This is a reminder that this meeting was canceled. Please ignore this reminder.
that was
might
for,
be what,
that was for the Eligibility and Budget Committee meeting, not this meeting.
I know, I realize that, but I'm just saying there might be some
people might have been
confusion.
confused.
It didn't go out to everybody. It only went out to the people on the Eligibility and Budget Review Committee.
But I guess they might have still been confused. So why don't we just send an email to everyone? Because this is a little odd. Usually we have quorum by now. So Kim or Shannon, can you guys take care of just resending out, just saying, we
Shannon,
don't have.
can you do that for me while I monitor the people coming in?
Yes, we'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Yeah, there might have been confusion. I can see
Okay.
how that could be.
Got it. Okay, well, Selena.
Well, I would be happy to do the LAC update at the beginning because that feels less important to the commissioners who may be missing it. If you want to do it out of order.
Dawn, do you have any concerns?
It's totally your call, Erica.
Okay, yeah, sure. Why don't we get started with that? And then I do want to make sure we also introduce the new commissioners, but you're welcome, Selena, to start with the LAC update.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. That way, when the new commissioners introduce themselves, they'll have the rest of the commissioners here. For the benefit of the new commissioners, I'm Selena Copeland. I'm the executive director of the Legal Aid Association of California. We are a liaison similar to the Judicial Council, so we always attend these meetings. And we were founded with the passing of our state's IOLTA statute by legal aid organizations to work with the state bar and the legislature around issues impacting the rules and regulations for legal aid and also funding for legal aid. So you'll see me a lot. My very quick updates are all on projects that we're working on with the state bar, but just kind of the LAC piece. I think a really interesting update is that there has been so much attention about loan repayment assistance, and a bill that we worked on literally almost 20 years ago, there is now finally funding for it. Elizabeth at the state bar and I and a representative from the Access Commission as part of an advisory group. The California Student Aid Commission will begin giving LRAP to, I think, about 40 attorneys next year. It's all in the statute, and so it's very limited. It's honestly not that much money because it was tied to $2,000 or $3,000 a year a very long time ago. But we're just excited because it's showing that there's so much interest in loan repayment that we're hoping that it kind of like keeps this talk about the need to recruit younger and newer graduates who have a lot of law school debt. So you'll probably hear from Elizabeth and me once the program is launched, because I think your grantees will be very happy. And the other quick update is that we are hearing a lot from our community around a need for coordinated training. So we've been talking with state bar staff. There are a lot of brand new attorneys in the state who attended law school, some of it but virtually. Some of them have never been in a courtroom. And LAC has been doing a lot of training for National Institute of Trial Advocacy Skills. We have one actually coming up next week, and then another one that we're planning in January to get people in the courtroom experience that they may not have had that experience at all. But there's talk about other things, those skills around like working with an interpreter, trauma-informed lawyering. And so we're working on kind of core curriculum ideas and where the gaps really are for legal aid attorneys, especially in their first year of practice. So those are the big things that we're working on now in partnership with the state bar.
Thanks, Selena. That was a very helpful update. I appreciate you sharing that information with us. Dawn, are we at quorum yet?
We're right at quorum, but Erica, Carol, can you eyeball and see if your EBR commissioners aren't on here, because maybe that Luis's theories might be right. Can you sense if a lot of the EBR members aren't here?
Yeah, I'll look right now.
Okay, thanks. And then Shannon, can you get that email out? But we're right at quorum, I believe.
Okay. Well,
If you
then why
want.
don't we just because we're 8 minutes after, and while I appreciate we covered one of our agenda items with Selena, which I appreciate you giving some information. Why don't we get roll call going and we can get started?
Great. Connolly,
Present.
Al-Sarraf, Ali Khani,
Here.
Ball, Fightmaster,
Here.
Blakemore,
Present.
Campbell, Escobedo,
Here.
Galkin, Gonzalez,
Present.
Iskin,
Here.
King,
Here.
Klein,
Here.
Cruz,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Mahoney,
Here.
Milrod, Morales, Maria, was that you? Sorry, I heard it. Okay, no. Stanville,
Here.
Vargas, Justice Rodriguez, Judge Seligman, Judge Yang. We have quorum, Erica. And I'll do our liaisons. I
Great.
saw Selena, Melanie and Laura, are you on?
We are.
Yep.
Great. Okay, and then we have all the relevant state bar staff. So I'll turn it back to you, Erica.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Let's do, introductions. We have 3 new commission members who've joined our ranks, and I do want to do kind of quick introduction of them and let them, give us, tell us a little bit about themselves. In years past, we've done kind of everyone does sort of a fun, answer to a question, but as you'll learn later in the meeting, we're going to be having like an in-person meeting in January. That's sort of a kind of half-day team building type of thing. And I think that might be a better time for us to actually go around. So for this one, I'm going to break with tradition a little bit, introduce our new commissioners and let them say something about themselves. If you want to do a fun fact, you can do a fun fact, but that's a lot of pressure. So don't feel obligated to do a fun fact. So I do want to start with Jacqueline Alicani. Jacqueline, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Welcome to the commission.
Yes, hello, thank you. It's great to meet everyone. Thrilled to be a part of this commission, looking forward to working with all of you. I live here in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. I am a heart survivor and volunteer patient advocate for the American Heart Association and a number of other community healthcare advocacy organizations. I'm an ambassador for PCORI, the Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute, and also the National Patient Advocate Foundation, Women Heart, and I'm also a citizen diplomat for the city of Los Angeles. And I'm a consumer representative with the FDA, and which is, of course, in the Metro Washington, D.C. area. And my goal and interest and all of my volunteer involvement is aimed at improving healthcare and socioeconomic services for patients, other healthcare consumers, family members, and caregivers. And as we know, just about everybody falls into one of those categories. If you've ever been sick or if you've ever been to the doctor, well, you're a patient. So you may not be a chronic patient, but you're one. So this is an area that it involves everyone and everyone cares about. And I think, this commission is doing a very important service by providing legal services for patients and family members and caregivers and other healthcare consumers and related stakeholders. So very glad to be here and glad to be a part of this commission.
Great, thank you. All right, let's turn to Eloina Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. I am Eloina, and I am currently the Self-Help Center Managing Attorney with the Alameda County Superior Court. And I have been with the court for 15 years now. And prior to my time with the court, I worked with several nonprofit legal agencies primarily in Oakland, and primarily focused on delivering services in the area of family law and domestic violence. And I currently reside in the East Bay. And fun fact, I guess it's really random, but I met my husband at the court, and we have been married for 11 years, and we have one daughter, and her birthday is today.
That's great. I had no idea that the court could be a kind of meet cute location. So that's very exciting.
I don't know how common it is, but yeah, it is, I guess, a benefit that, yeah, for me and my husband. But yeah, I thought I'd share that. I thought of it the other day. Thought, oh, that it's so random, but that's me.
That's great. Thank you. Welcome to the commission. And then our last new commissioner is Jonathan Sandville.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Sandville. I've been in the nonprofit sector and philanthropic sector for the last 2 decades. I'm a current senior fellow with the Institute for Nonprofit Practice, which is an organization that works to build the capacity of nonprofit organizations. I am the immediate past president of the African American Board Leadership Institute, which is an organization that focus on governance. They train nonprofit leaders in governance and leadership training and development to serve on boards. I've been a funder with the Ford Foundation, managing a $15 million grant-making portfolio, and also a fundraiser. I've served as Chief Development Officer with the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, with organizations like GLAD here in LA, and Liberty Science Center. And I've also been an executive director with the City University of New York, serving over the Scholarship and Educational Foundation. So I'm happy to be of service and a pleasure to meet all of you.
Great. Thank you. Well, we're super excited to have the three of you join us and really look forward to putting your skills to use. It sounds like you'll be quite valuable. And so we will take as much of your expertise as we can. So, we look forward to working with you all on that. And I do want to also say, Louise is actually terming off very shortly. I think this is going to be her last meeting, and she's just done so much in contributing to the commission. We've worked together on a few committees. And so I just wanted to make sure we said congratulations and our thank yous to her for all of the service that she's done over the years on the commission. And we will miss you. And if you ever decide you want to come back, I know it's very hard to walk away. We would be happy to have your expertise and your knowledge back on the commission. So thank you very much. And we appreciate all the service that you've done. So do you want to say a few words?
Sure.
I think oh, perfect. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm retired. I'm 77 years old. It's really time to kind of hang it up and spend time with grandchildren and all that kind of thing. But this is the last commitment I have. And it's the last commitment I have because I have loved it so much, and it's so meaningful, the work that this committee does. I was a VISTA volunteer. I was a facilitator. I've done so much work along my, aside from being, an attorney that actually worked as, with litigants, but I've done a lot of pro bono work. And it's so critical, and it seems to get more and more critical as the economy and the other things that are going on in this country kind of go downhill. So I'm sorry to leave because it means so much to me, but that's a family decision that, it's time. So thank you all. You're all great.
Oh, that's very sweet, Louise. Thank you so much. You'll be very missed. And as I said, if you decide you can't stay away, feel free to come back. Okay. So with that, I want to kind of move us into the meat of our meeting today. It's a very, we have a very substantive meeting, unlike I think our last one, which was sort of a one thing. We have a lot of stuff to cover. The first thing I want to take a look at is our consent calendar, which is agenda 3. Oh, I'm sorry, Brady. Brady had something he wanted to talk about, and I totally skipped over. Sorry, Brady, go ahead.
No problem. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of some potential changes to our conflict of interest code for the state bar that are going before the board next week, and then will be circulated for public comment. Just a little bit of background. Every state agency has to have a conflict of interest code that sets forth the agency's positions, whether volunteer or employee, that make any decisions that are reasonably foreseeable to have a financial impact on anyone. And then the code is required for each such position to basically set forth what financial disclosures those decision makers need to have. For many years, the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission has been listed on our conflict of interest code, but the reporting requirement has only required commissioners, and we've gone through this. People have been here who've been here over the years. In the springtime, you get an instruction to file a Form 700, and the disclosure category was only requiring you to disclose a financial interest if there was a decision that came before the commission that caused a conflict and you had to recuse yourself. So almost nobody ever had any financial interests to report. As we went through the review of the code this year, we realized that that's actually not sufficient under the law. The Political Reform Act requires decision makers such as yourselves to disclose the types of financial interests that may be affected by a decision of the commission. So the updated code for next year will propose to have commissioners report when they do their annual Form 700s. In addition to, if there's a conflict, you report after the fact, but also to report under disclosure categories 2 and 3, and that basically 2 and 7, excuse me. And so that means that you will be reporting your financial interests on your Form 700s basically in the legal industry. That's category 2. It's technically sources that are subject to the regulatory permit or licensing authority of the State Bar of California. So that includes California attorneys and law firms, applicants to become licensed by the State Bar, California lawyer referral services, and California legal aid providers. And in addition, category 7, which is banks and financial institutions, because we make decisions that affect, banks that either provide IOLTA accounts or that may provide IOLTA accounts. So, this is basically required by law. And I'm going to kind of go through what financial interests are. But essentially, when you do your Form 700 this year, you will have to, rather than just clicking nothing to disclose, you'll just disclose if you basically have income in or investments in any entity in the legal industry or a bank or a financial services firm. And it's really, let me just pull up a brief, 1 second.
And while Brady pulls up, just for our new commissioner, Brady Dewars from the Office of General Counsel. So we have two attorneys that support the Legal Service Trust Fund Commission. So if you ever have a legal question, conflicts, or Form 700, you can email either Brady or Raul directly, or email me and then I will forward it to them. But we have legal support.
Right. Eric, you have your hand raised? Sorry, Brady, I just want to make sure if he has a question.
Yeah, so Brady, are you saying, like, let's say I'm in a mutual fund that has some small amount of stock in Wells Fargo, for example, I have to...
Sorry,
Eric, you kind of broke up, but I think
if you heard the gist of it, maybe.
Yeah, essentially,
so
how direct of a financial interest do you need to have in a bank, I guess, is maybe.
Sure. So let me, am I sharing the screen now, I hope?
Yes.
So several types of financial interests. And again, this would only be financial interests in the legal industry or banks financial services. So any other income sources, any other investments, you're not going to disclose. For investments, it's an investment of $2,000 or more in, again, banks or financial services or the legal industry. There are exceptions, and we'll be giving you much more detailed instructions, assuming this is adopted and before your Form 700s are due on April 1st. But one major exception is that does not include diversified mutual funds. So if you have, unless your, mutual fund is just like banks, then it's considered an interest in that industry. But if it's diversified, there's no disclosure. So basically, if you had more than $2,000 in single stock in a bank, you disclose that. Second of all, disclosures are not they're by category, and they're pretty broad. So for instance, on income, if you're going to need to disclose, your law firm income, it's going to be, or legal aid income, or whatever it is. It's a box. In the box, their ranges, the highest range is $100,000 or over. So you're not going to be disclosing highly detailed information in any event. But again, so it would be, rather than just looking backwards if there was a conflict, it's the two industries that we make decisions regarding: legal industry, banks and financial institutions. And then you'd be disclosing both for yourself or your community property share and your registered domestic partner or spouses, or your dependent children's investments of over $2,000 or more in those industries, your income of over $500 or more from those industries. And again, it's going to be, you name the law firm and click $50,000 to $100,000 or over $100,000. Gifts, if you get a gift from somebody or an entity in those industries of over $50, it's reportable. but those are subject, basically anything that we usually think of as gifts, gifts from friends, birthday gifts, reciprocal, a friend takes you out for dinner and they happen to be a lawyer. None of that's reportable. It's more, the kinds of things that would be influence peddling. And again, we'll give you the whole list. There's 30 exceptions there. If you have an uncompensated business position, so if you are a board member at a legal aid, you just disclose that as a business position, and then you're done with that. There are also prohibitions in the code, and these have applied since you were already named in the code previously. But again, this is unchanged. Commissioners need to disqualify themselves from any decision that comes from before the commission that would have a financial effect on them or any of their financial interests. So, if you work for a particular legal aid provider or your spouse does, you have to recuse yourself from decisions relating to that legal aid provider. There's also a prohibition on honoraria. You can't accept honoraria for speeches or articles or event attendance from a source that's reportable on your Form 700. So that's legal industry or the financial industry. There's an exception for income earned in connection with, if it's customary in your business to give such speeches and be paid for them, you can continue to do that. It's just, again, to avoid influence peddling. Gifts, and again, that's subject to those exceptions. It doesn't cover gifts between friends, reciprocal holiday gifts, anything like that. But you're prohibited from receiving gifts totaling $590 or more in a year from a single source. And finally, this is unchanged. Loans, you may not accept personal loans from any state bar officer, employee, trustee, consultant, or contractor. I don't think that's ever come up for any of you. And that's subject to exceptions. You can, it's basically no personal loans are allowed, but commercial loans that are offered to you on, the same terms as anybody else are permissible. Again, it's all about influence peddling. Diana, I see a question.
Yeah, thanks, Brady. Does that include events? Like if I go to my old law firm's, box, like at a sporting event or a concert, I disclose that?
Yes, generally, you would, if it's, there's certain rules that if it's, open to everybody, you wouldn't disclose that, but yes, you generally would disclose something like that.
Great. And I should say, my sense is like, this is just information because the board is considering these rules, and then ultimately we'll get training on how to fill it out in the new year. So this isn't your Form 700 training right now. So it's right, Brady. Am I correct on that?
Oh, correct. And I just sort of wanted to bring it up. We don't have chat anymore, but the item itself describing this is posted on the State Bar's website. It's for the Board of Trustees meeting on the 16th.
Great.
Next Thursday. A public comment period will be opening on Monday. I think after we'll probably get it posted Monday at our public comment section, and that'll be for 45 days. So if I just wanted to raise this so you're aware of it. If you have any questions or concerns, you can direct them to me or the public comment. Just, in case this raises any thoughts or concerns, I wanted to, make you aware of it now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, if it passes and we are subject to these new rules, I'm sure we'll get a much more detailed training from Brady about how to do this. As someone who's been subject to Form 700 for the past 4 years in my own job, it's like, it gets easier as you get practice in it. So thanks, Brady, for letting us know. And if folks have further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. All right. I did want to, before we move to our consent calendar, I just wanted to know if there's any public comment.
I don't see anybody's hand raised.
Okay. Great, then let's move to our consent calendar. And so just as a reminder to folks who have been on the commission for a little while, and for the new folks, we have started doing a consent calendar. This is where these are matters that we think are, you know, non-controversial and that we think that discussion is unnecessary. And, you know, obviously all the materials about these particular matters were posted. I will say, if there is any of these topics that you don't think should be on a consent calendar and you'd actually like to discuss it, please let us know, or please let me know, and we can move them off the consent calendar. But in general, if you are comfortable with consenting to these, what we do is essentially request a motion and then do an up or down vote to approve all of these particular matters as a bundle. And then we can dig into some other substantive stuff. Are there any, as an initial matter, is there any concerns with any of the requests for approval that are on the consent calendar? Okay, seeing no hands raised.
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead, Angie, what's up?
So that would include the recommendations number 3.4 regarding carryovers. No, wait, that's not the one. The never mind. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, the grants administration is not it, but just in consent calendar, it's the 3.1 through 3.6. Any other requests to remove anything from the consent calendar? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve the matters on the consent calendar?
I move.
Diana, great, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great, thanks, Louise. All right, why don't we move to our roll call vote?
Alakani,
Sorry, Jacqueline, you're muted.
Keep forgetting to do that. Yes, I approve.
Great, thank you.
Ball, Fightmaster,
Yes.
Blakemore,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Escobedo,
Yes.
Galkin, Gonzalez,
Yes.
Iskin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Milrod, Morales, Sandville,
Yes.
Vargas, Al-Saraf, Connolly.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you all for that. And I think, as I said, going forward, you know, because we have such stockful meetings, we'll probably continue to use consent calendar. But if there's ever a matter that you think needs to be taken off of it, don't hesitate to flag that. All right, we're going to take a few agenda items out of order just because we have some speakers who are going to talk with us about it. So the first one we're going to do is 6.2, the report about the single audit, which Rocio had circulated, I think, a copy of the single audit. So I will turn it over to you, Rocio and Michael, and I think we have the auditing firm as well. And so before they start, I just want to give a little bit of kind of education on this. You know, these audits are really an important part of our role in overseeing the commission. And it's an opportunity for us to get, you know, audits. Hopefully, you know, most of you are familiar with them, but to the extent that you're not, they're really an important kind of checkup on how the organization is doing with its operations and its procedures. And in general, we've done, you know, very well on audits. And but I give you that as a little bit of education and understanding as to kind of our role is to, you know, to learn about this. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. And yeah, I'll turn it over to Rocio.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. As Erica mentioned, Michael Chang, our program supervisor of our fiscal team, is also available to help answer any questions, but also happy to invite
have David, or I guess welcome, David Bullock, partner at MGO, our auditors, to co-present on this item and be available to answer any questions as well. So I believe he was elevated to be a panelist, yes?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you so much for joining, David.
Absolutely.
Great. So I'll give a little bit of background on the single audit and then pass it to David to give a little bit more of an overview of the requirement and the results of our first ever single audit. And then see if there are any questions that we can help answer. And then we'll also, after that, take a step back and give an overview of all of our audit requirements, those that we've had, knowing that we have new commission members as well, and a new protocol that will be taking effect next year. So with that, just a little bit of an overview. So as you know, the State Bar receives and this commission oversees federal funds from two pass-through agencies. So the COVID-19 Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund are passed through the Judicial Council of California and distributed to legal aid organizations as our Homelessness Prevention or HP3 grant. And we also receive COVID-19 homeowner assistance funds. Those are passed through the CalHFA Homeowner Relief Corporation, which is, excuse me, referred to as our CalHFA grant. So those are our two federal grants that we administer. And as a recipient of those federal funds, the State Bar is required to have a single audit conducted for each fiscal year that we expend more than $750,000. So that's the threshold that triggers the single audit requirement. And the purpose of the single audit is to ensure that those federal awards, that those dollars are used appropriately and in compliance with all federal requirements and regulations. So for us, fiscal year ending in 2022 was the first year that triggered this requirement that we were required to have auditors, in this case MGO, David is representing, contracted to conduct a single audit of our two federal awards. And so that included a review of financial statements, compliance, and internal controls. This was, again, can't emphasize enough, our very first single audit for our office and the State Bar. And we're happy to share that it resulted in no findings or question costs of our HP3 or CalHFA federal awards. So that's great news. David will talk a little bit more about that, but wanted to say that. The report itself did include two previous IT findings, I would say, from the State Bar's annual financial statement audit. And those two findings were presented to the Board of Trustees in April. And I did check in with our Office of Information Technology, and they're working on completing corrective actions before the end of this year. So as mentioned, I shared right before this meeting the apologies for the lateness of it, the actual report, and we're working on getting that posted to public materials on our website. So you have that open. Hopefully it's in your inbox for commissioners, and for anyone else joining, will soon be posted on our website. So with that, just will say that we have David on to be able to answer any questions and provide a little bit more context, because this is the first year it was triggered, but these are 3-year grants for CalHFA and HP3, so we do anticipate having at least 2 more single audits for the next 2 years. And with that, David, I'll pass it to you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So MGO has been the auditors for State Bar for the past 5 years, and I've been the partner responsible for the audit. And if you're not aware, the financial audit's due. It's a mandated due date of April 30th every year. So we've been doing the financial statement audits by the mandated due date successfully. The single audit, which is what we're talking about today, is called a single audit because a long time ago, all the different federal agencies that were providing grants would come out and audit organizations, and it became very burdensome to address all the different federal agencies. And so back in 1984, there was the Single Audit Act, which allowed for one audit to cover all the different federal programs that a government or an organization like a nonprofit might receive. And so it really reduced the burden or onus on the recipient of federal programs. So that name is stuck. It's been called Single Audit ever since. And that's due 9 months after the end of your fiscal year. So it was actually due September 30th, as opposed to the state mandated deadline for your financial statement audit. So it's definitely not late. It was completed timely and submitted. And as Rocio mentioned, this is the first time you've done a single audit, and that's because you have to meet the threshold of 750,000, and federal grants has just not been a big part of the state bar programs historically. Well, that all changed with COVID-19. There's a lot of additional funding that became available, and State Bar took part in that with its homelessness program and the homelessness assistance fund program. And so this audit, I'm going to share my screen, and I don't know how much time I have, so I'll be real brief, but I think it's helpful to understand what it is we're talking about. And I'm sure this is in your packet, but this is the report that we issued for State Bar, and it's 18 pages, so it's not a lengthy report. But sometimes it's hard to kind of pull through the weeds and really understand what the report is. And so I'm looking at the table of contents here and just giving you a snapshot. There's 2 reports that we issue related to the single audit. One is this audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. And that's the financial statement element of the audit, because the single audit requires both a financial and compliance audit. The second element is this report we issue here on compliance with the uniform guidance, and that's the federal requirements that all single audits are audited under. So we issue those 2 reports. What's provided is a schedule of expenditures, so you know how much was spent during the year, some notes, and then this schedule of findings and question costs, which really is the summary of the results of the audit. So a couple of things I wanted to highlight. Rocio mentioned earlier that on page 1 of our report, this is the independent auditor's report, we identified 2 findings, and those are both IT related, and they were part of the financial statement report, okay, not the federal compliance report. The uniform guidance opinion, I'm happy to report that we gave a clean opinion, which is basically that State Bar complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements for each major federal program. Okay, and so what does that mean? Well, here's your two programs: the homeowner assistance fund program and this is the homelessness prevention program, but this is the federal name of the program. And they were both big awards, $12 million for one and 39.7 for the other. But the single audit doesn't focus on how much you were awarded, it focuses on how much you spent during the year. And so, as Rocio mentioned, these grants are large and they're multi-year grants. They're covering a span of 3 years. And so during fiscal year, or calendar year, 2022, the year that we just completed, State Bar has spent $30 million of those awards. And what's also important to note is that State Bar isn't spending these monies directly. They're passing these monies through as grants to other recipients. And those are going to other eligible legal aid nonprofits. And so what's nice about this report is an effort went into identifying and trying to improve transparency, listing out of that amount, how much went to each program. So this right here is the 36 million that was passed through the subrecipients during 2022. And these are all the different agencies that received that money. So this one right here is the Homeowner Assistance Fund program. And then the Homelessness Prevention Program starts here on the next page, and it spans 2 pages because there's lots of agencies receiving these grants for 25 million, for a total of 29 million between the 2 programs. What's important for State Bar is to now that these monies have been passed through to subrecipients, is to monitor the use of those funds. And so that'll be the focus in future audits in terms of how this money is being used. So that'll be the focus. The schedule of findings and question costs, again, is the summary of the audit. And on the financial statement audit, we issued a clean opinion, although we did have some significant deficiencies. We had 2, so there's a yes there. No material noncompliance. On the federal programs, there were no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and there was no non-compliance mentioned. So it was an unmodified opinion on the compliance with federal programs. It's always important to note that these are the programs that were tested. So we tested both programs because both programs exceeded $900,000, which is the threshold of every program that receives more than this amount, which is 3% of the total, has to be audited every year, or excuse me, once every 3 years. And then finally, you might be asking, why is State Bar not a low-risk auditee? And it's not because State Bar did anything wrong. It's because this is a first-year audit and there's no history. And therefore, there's no way to say State Bar is a low-risk auditee because there's been no successful audits in the past because this is the first audit. But going down the road, as you spend money in the future, this may change over the next 1 or 2 years. It may be a 2-year requirement. Just really briefly, I'm not sure how important it is for you or if you're interested in, but the findings really related to ET, and really it's about, you know, making sure that policies are updated to address, especially as technology continues to advance and evolve, that policies are timely updated to reflect the environment that we're in. You know, with cybersecurity attacks and other things, we want to make sure that those policies are updated. So a couple of policies there that need to be updated, and then just reviewing access into the systems. We want to make sure those are those with privileged access are being monitored on an annual basis. So a couple of IT related matters there, nothing that related specifically to the federal programs. And then lastly, I just wanted to point out that State Bar has prepared a corrective action plan for those 2 items, and they provided their responses for both IT related matters, which they believe will be resolved during this calendar year, 2023. And we will be addressing that, or that'll be addressed, I should say, in future audit periods covering 2023. So that concludes my kind of walkthrough of the report. Hopefully that was helpful. Available for any questions you might have. I do want to point out that I have Gian Chim with me. She's a senior manager and did a lot of the heavy lifting on the detailed audit work. And so we're available for questions.
Thank you so much, David.
Yes, thank you. Duan, you said you have your hand raised?
I also want to point out when we first worked with MGO on the single audit, we did hire MGO also to provide some trainings to our grantees because some of them were subject to the single audit for the first time. So there's been a lot of technical assistance on that end that we've contracted out to give that support for our grantees.
Great. Catherine?
Hi, thank you for the good presentation. Just with the 2 findings, are those specific to the trust fund or are those more general State Bar?
Yeah, they're
issues? And then then when you did your audit of the State Bar more generally, did those also appear there, or?
Yeah, so those findings were reported in the financial statement audit that we completed back in April. And I think we did a presentation to the Board of Trustees in the following month in May.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
The other thing I wanted to point out related to the single audit is that since the Trust Fund Commission, obviously our office is under the umbrella of the State Bar, this commission does not vote to kind of approve the audit itself. That gets done at the Board of Trustee level in their audit committee.
Yeah, so a little bit of context for the new folks and maybe even for everybody as a reminder is, you know, while the commission is in some ways a standalone entity, our staff and a lot of our operations are actually employees of the State Bar. So that's why there is kind of an audit of the State Bar's operations. And, you know, and then there's sort of within that umbrella, the work that the staff does for the commission. So there's some overlap in those things. So I just wanted to raise that as far as Catherine's question about if we're looking at the commission or the State Bar, you know, which. Great. Any other questions about this? So overall, I have to say, like, you know, I was pleased to see the report. It sounds like they're, you know, the findings are ones that are easily addressable, and that the bar, you know, with the commission staff are working on that. And it's a great opportunity for us to see how well that we are doing with the actual compliance with the federal mandates and stuff. So great job to staff. And thank you to MGO for conducting the audit. Appreciate you coming and talking with us about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move to 6.3, which is a discussion about a strategic plan that we are looking to work on for the commission. So I'm going to turn this over to Dwan to kind of start with it. And we have a guest for you know, who will speak with us as well, but I'll turn it over to Dwan to start those introductions.
Yeah, I'll give a little context. So, you know, commission leadership, I want to say maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, first raised the idea of having a strategic plan. At that time, I think it was both a combination of like availability on the staff side, on the commission willingness to do it. But Erica and I talked, and I think with the last leadership round, we thought this is the year that we want to partake in this, and for a couple of reasons. You know, the commission has grown just so much in terms of the sheer amount of money that we distribute. You've been codified. You know, you have a lot of autonomy from SB 211 that was passed a couple of years ago. The staff has grown. We've seen the last few years that we have been getting more funding. We haven't had a moment to kind of pause to say, is this the type of funding that we want to distribute? Is this kind of the direction that we want to go in? So we thought this is kind of really the perfect time to do it, is to take that pause for us to really like have a meeting, have like some work that's being done, and instead of having it like ad hoc, like, you know, Care Court came through and we didn't really have a moment to consider it truly. It just kind of happened. And that's been the same with our Cal FHA grants, some of our other streams of funding. So we wanted to be intentional about this, and that's why we are going to be doing strategic planning for the first time with this commission. The other thing is the roles and responsibilities between the staff and the commission. I think over the last 5 years, it's stayed the same, but our grant making has changed. And so I think it's also important to kind of take a pause and think, like, is this the way we want to divide the division of work? And what does oversight kind of responsibility mean for the commission? And what does the execution staff doing that work mean? And so I think it's just this is like, we're really excited to do this and really have like, not just like a tack on for a commission meeting where that's already full of agenda, but really dedicated time for us all to be together and think about that. So we have hired a firm, Lucas Public Affairs, Cassandra. Is Cassandra on? Has Cassandra been promoted?
And Dwan, while you're doing that, let me just also say, you know, just quickly is on that, like, one of the things that we've been trying to do with sort of the increased funding is increase our flexibility, try to be, you know, responsive to like the community and as well. And so I think when Dwan talked to me about this, I thought this was just such a great opportunity for us to really think through our mission, how we can like make sure we're addressing the needs of the community and like all the different stakeholders. So I really, as we'll go through, you know, there's going to be lots of opportunities for commissioners to give feedback, for other, you know, stakeholders to give feedback. And I really, really encourage you to provide like your honest feedback so that we can, you know, put the commission on a helpful strategic plan. I know, for example, I know Selena mentioned, you know, the need for like additional training and that kind of stuff. That's something I think we should definitely be thinking about and considering. So I'm going to turn it over to Lucas Public Affairs and Cassandra to talk more about it. But I did want to just make sure I let you know, like, I'm very excited about this and really can't wait to hear, you know, what people give as feedback and what kind of comes out of this.
And Cassandra's going to talk about the timeline, and then if you've never kind of been involved in a strategic plan, like what really we're trying to achieve and what that will look like for the next kind of few months to come. Cassandra, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Dwan. And my work is done here. You've already done my introduction for me. So thank you for that. Good afternoon, everybody. I am over at the offices at Lucas Public Affairs. We're in Sacramento at 13th and K Street. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited to hear both the introduction from Dwan as well as from your chair, because really simply put, this is a best practice. What you've decided to do is a best practice for organizations, for associations. I even think about our own operation that doubled in size through COVID, and we just had a 1.5-day staff retreat to do some strategic planning as a firm. So it's just something that makes a lot of sense. Quick background on us, and I know you've got documents. We're a traditional public affairs firm, about a staff of about 30 folks. We certainly do quite a bit of private sector work in the public policy space, but we also do work for public sector entities, including the work we did for the state bar, the big state bar, Board of Trustees a couple of years ago. We are still, we still do work for CalSTRS. We've done work for CalPERS, CSU, the California Community Colleges, Department of Public Health, Department of Water Resources. I mean, we are comfortable operating in the public space. My own background, I just happen to like, in addition to liking politics and policy and communications and the media work we do, I just like helping organizations to thinks through strategy. It really is truly a best practice. And so this has just always been a passion of mine and why I continue to do this work. So some of you may say why. I think Jawan teed this up absolutely correctly. This is about pressing pause with your unprecedented growth, and just stepping back to be sure that everyone's on the same page relative to goals and strategies, and then that infrastructure you need to continue to implement and continue to support that growth. Revisit the mission and just be sure we're still on track. Take a look at structure and roles in light of growth. But the best part about this process from where I sit is this also gives you a chance to check in with your stakeholders. And a couple of things come out of that. Number one, you learn from that feedback that we just spoke of. But number two, you foster goodwill in doing that outreach and just asking people, what do you think? Are we on the right track? Are we serving you correctly? Are we doing small things and big things that help support your mission and support our mission? So that's really important. When I do these check-ins, either by survey or interviews, always some tidbit comes along that's a really good idea. And we do it and we put it in the strategy and it turns out to be a good thing. So look forward to that. You also hear best practices from other places. And I would just say you almost always in this process in a better place as an organization than when you started. So as I said, we did this work for the State Bar Board a couple of years ago. That resulted in a 5-year strategic plan. I know they're taking a look at some structural things right now, and they're also refocused on priorities. That's the why. The how, pretty straightforward. We're going to start this work right away, conducting a survey of both commissioners and senior staff. That's going to take place this month. Just to inform our initial planning. That then leads to, and that survey will be sent out via email next week. So I hope everyone will weigh in and give us your most honest and thoughtful feedback there. That'll take us into Q1 of 2024. We will facilitate that first half-day workshop with members of the commission. That's going to be on Friday down in LA, February 2nd. And that once we've collected all the data and sort of what we comments and other things from that survey, that gives us a chance to set an agenda, to tee up what it's essentially a SWOT analysis, the organization's strengths, its weaknesses, air quotes, opportunities and threats. That's just a great way to take a look at sort of where things are now. That will then lead to some monthly planning meetings with a subcommittee of this group. And that will help us to begin to develop the strategic plan. We're also, and this again is one of my favorite parts, going to conduct some interviews with key stakeholders. So we get that quantitative feedback from the survey, but we also get some qualitative and an opportunity to interact with folks, with members of the board, Legal Aid Association, Judicial Council, legislative staff, other stakeholders, and we will compile those results, keeping them confidential, not attributing comments to anyone in particular, but developing a bucket of that feedback, probably, again, identifying some key themes, and that will help us then lead to that final subcommittee planning meeting, and that's likely to be Q2, likely to be in April. And then we'll submit a draft we'll share it with you in June. And if there's anything that you need in the way of support or anything else in the aftermath, we're certainly on board to do that. But so you've got the why, you've got the how, you've got the who, and you've got the when. And so I will now stop talking and see if you have some questions. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thanks, Cassandra. Ephraim?
Thanks, Erica. Cassandra, thanks for that. I love the way you bucketed it. I'm so excited that you all will be leading us through this journey. I had one reflection comment as you described that and as you shared stakeholders, and then a question. So the reflected comment is just as we think about key informants or those stakeholders to interview, just thinking about what should that diverse pool look like. You know, I noticed we fund really large statewide organizations, and we also fund really small legal service providers and then more support orgs. So just being mindful of that, particularly also thinking about, you know, from a kind of a racial equity perspective, you know, including some run by BIPOC leaders versus those not. And then the question for me is, wonder if in your process, the way you all approach it, whether you also take us through a little bit of a conversation about how to map out our stakeholders, right? We think right away about grantees, but I'm wondering, in what light do you think about legislators, and what light do you think about other kind of those? So that was more my question. The first one was just more a comment and reflection on hoping we consider those things.
Ironically, Ephraim, I lead a leadership cohort here locally called Catalyst, and I've just spent literally drove over from a 3-hour diversity and inclusion and implicit bias training with a group of young leaders. And so diversity and inclusion is top of mind for me right now. And it always is. Let's just be honest. That's where we will look to you, if I'm honest. If we are to be inclusive, if we are really to cast as wide a net as we can around where we get feedback from, we will look to you to be sure we're covering our bases. We've got to be mindful of budget. Obviously, we've got to be mindful of time. We've got to put some parameters around the work, but no question, we want to be sure we're checking as many boxes as possible in terms of stakeholders that we reach out to, even if it's just, again, for the way we settled on this is probably putting people into some buckets and joining them up together for some of these for some of these informational interviews. But if we're missing anybody, that's where you all come in. You represent many of the constituencies that Dewan and all of you are going to care about hearing from. And so we will do our best to cast a wide net, but we also want to hear from you if there's anyone that's missing. And when we did the work for the State Bar Board of Trustees, absolutely. I think I probably talked to a dozen legislators in that process. We won't go that far with this work, but again, that's absolutely an important audience, and we'll find a way to get in touch with them. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's such a great point. One question I have is to both Dawn and Cassandra is, you know, to the extent we have the surveys, but I assume those are going to be sort of anonymized, and
right.
I guess I want to give everyone confidence, like I'm not going to see them like specifically, Dawn's not going to see them specifically. So please be as honest as you want.
Right.
They will then provide for us like a profile.
Right.
But I do want to just ask, what is the best way for commissioners to communicate if they are seeing sort of, a space that's missing, or have suggestions like Ephraim was making? Would it be to communicate to Dwan, to me, to Cassandra, to you directly?
From my perspective, it can come directly into me. I just think we keep Dwan in the loop. That's most important for me, but absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, no. So I think what probably we'll do is, as it moves forward, we'll kind of give out like those instructions and stuff, and when is the right time to communicate. But I do want to make sure we have that so that you guys have access to that. Catherine.
Thanks so much. I think I spoke with you or one of your team with the State Bar.
You did. I think I spoke with you.
I believe that to be the case. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting process, and so look forward to it. You mentioned at the beginnings some materials you thought we had, and I might have missed an email or something, but I at least don't have it. So
yeah, I haven't sent out any materials, Cassandra.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
The survey's next week.
Sorry. But
is there
you will
something
get
we should be looking at? Like, is there like be great to get whatever was referenced. So
You'll get the survey next week. That's my mistake.
no, that's okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Questions?
Awesome. I guess I'll just say, you know, we have this half day meeting in February. We hope you all can make it. I think it's going to be one, it's just great to sort of be in a room together. And we often do these on Zoom, and it's very,
yes.
Look, I'm worried about climate change too. I don't want us to always be commuting constantly. And I come from Sacramento, as I know Catherine does as well. But I think having this kind of once a year get together, all talk, I think will be very helpful and like is good just for us to get to know each other and have cohesion, and also to share with Cassandra and her team how we're, you know, what our thinking is and what areas that we want to talk with her about. Diana.
Can you remind us of the dates of that in-person meeting, just so I make sure I kind of star it on my calendar?
February 2nd.
It's Friday, February 2nd, and it's going to be 10 to 3. And there's an agenda item later in the day where I'm going to talk about commission administration and then our meeting calendar, and then we will then send out a calendar invite for everyone. I wanted to kind of set the stage before we sent out, because I think you would have been confused by all the calendar invites. But we'll walk you through that, and then we'll walk you through like some logistical things about like booking your hotel and travel and stuff like that.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure to start so I don't miss it.
Thank
you. So Erica, if I could close it out by just saying thank you and also tell you all a funny story. We wound up having to do our workshop with the State Bar Board of Trustees virtually. And I had a conversation with Leah about doing a getting to know you kind of an exercise. And Leah, as you know, is all business. And she said, I don't think people are really gonna want to get into, you know, a getting to know you icebreaker kind of a thing. The best thing we ever did, set the stage for trust, which is really important with a group like this. And You Ask Her was absolutely worth the time, because it's not just about the work. It really is about the people all around the screen, knowing each other, trusting each other, sharing confidences with each other. It just leads to better outcomes. And so, Eric, I'm just underscoring what you said, Erica, about it's about the work, but it also is about, we'll spend some time giving you a chance to also get to know each other. I think that's very important to your work as well. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Great. I'm a little nervous about trust falls, but that looks like an evil look from Cassandra, but no, I think those ice-breaking things are, I think they always sound not that great in the moment, but then when you do them, you're like, oh, wow, I got to know people. So that's great.
Trust me.
Yeah, I do. All right. Thank you very much. And then appreciate the presentation. Look forward to everyone's participation and feedback, and, you know, very excited about the opportunity we have here. All right, we're going to get back onto our normal course of events. We're going to start with, or get back to agenda item grants administration 4. So why don't we start with the 4.1, approving recommendations for the 2024 IOLTA and EAF budget submissions. I'll turn it over to Erica and Catherine. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen, but yes, as Erica said, we're going to review the 2024 IOLTA and EAF budget submissions. The chair of the Eligibility and Budget Review Committee is Catherine Blakemore, and we'll walk through a little bit of just some of the general background before getting to the recommendation. So for 2024, we received 110 budget proposals, which is the same number of prospective applicants that were found eligible back in August. We do have 10 new grantees this year. And so as part of the eligibility process, the final step is reviewing these budgets before releasing grant agreements. So once our office ran the funding formula and released tentative allocations to grantees, they had 30 days to submit their final proposals. Broadly speaking, qualified legal services projects need to have budgets that focus on defraying the costs of providing legal services to indigent persons. or for other purposes permitted by statute. One example being the LRAP program administered by the Access Commission. And then in terms of support centers, their funds should be used to provide services to the qualified legal services projects. And then other specific requirements for budgets are that for the Equal Access Fund, grantees do need to outline identifiable or specific activities or projects that they'll be working on, as well as some associated outcomes in order to prepare for evaluation at the end of the year once they've expended the funds. And then finally, there is a longstanding office practice of recommended expense ratios. So grantees should be budgeting 75% or more to personnel expenses and 75% or more to program expenses, and then correspondingly 25% or less to non-personnel or administrative expenses. And then we also look for a benefits to compensation ratio of benefits not exceeding 40%. So in any of those instances where we see deviations, staff raises that to the committee for consideration. A couple changes specific to this year's budgets that we wanted to highlight are the multi-year spending period for IOLTA. So as you all know, in August, the commission approved a 4-year spending period for IOLTA funds due to the significant increase in funds available in the coming year. And this will give grantees flexibility to ensure that the funds are spent down within that time period. And grantees had the option, they didn't have to spend the funds over 4 years. In fact, many of them still intend to spend it within 1 year. But as part of the budgeting process, we asked grantees that do expect to spend more than 1 year using these funds to spell out sort of the timeline as well as the expected use of funds on a by-year basis. We also incorporated the new loan repayment assistance program guidelines and expenditures into these budgets. So historically, grantees have been allowed to use IOLTA and EAF funds for LRAP purposes, as long as it was for qualifying work. But the commission approved a new set of guidelines in August due to the statutory change that created a separate program that's administered by the California Access to Justice Commission. And that program has slightly different parameters than what grantees were allowed to do just generally under with the use of IOLTA and EAF funds previously. And so in order to help grantees on staff with that distinction, guidelines were issued, and then we created new sections to the budget to specifically identify the funds that are going to LRAP, as well as the number of staff that are benefiting and what type of program grantees are using. And I'll go into a little more of those specifics, but we're hopeful that this will help in terms of evaluation as well of the impact of these changes and the growing interest in using these funds for recruitment and retention purposes. And then finally, there was a change to the definition of civil legal services back in July. As part of the codification process, one of the recently approved rules was modifying the definition of both civil and legal services in the state bar rules. And so previously the definition was quite vague in that it essentially said services provided by an attorney or under the supervision or direction of an attorney, whereas the new definition is much more robust and allows for activities like holistic legal services where there might be individuals who are not an attorney or a paralegal, but are working in tandem with the legal team and towards a legal outcome and help achieve a legal outcome. And those activities now fall under the umbrella of civil legal services. So previously, those types of activities, like let's say, if you have social workers on staff who are working as part of the legal team, staff would have elevated those individually for review. But given that those activities now fall under this definition, staff was mindful of that and reviewing it, and so has included that in sort of the general recommendation for approval. So just to give you some information on loan repayment assistance proposals, we had about 15 grantees budget for LRAP this year. 6 of those programs are administered by the grantees themselves. 5 are by the California Access to Justice Commission. 2 are from another third party. And then we had 2 that were engaging in more than one program. So one that was employer administered and Access to Justice Commission, and then one that was employer administered and using another third party. Overall, we saw about $1 million budgeted for LRAP assistance, and then $51,000 for administrative expenses. So the numbers as well that we were able to pull from the budgets of staff benefited, it looks like overwhelmingly attorneys will be benefiting, with a little over 182 attorneys and then 33 other staff members. So we'll, be reporting out on outcomes when we can, once we get more information about how the use of funds has impacted the organizations and their staff. I think I would also say that we've received a number of questions from grantees that maybe were not quite geared up at the moment to incorporate loan repayment assistance into their budget proposal, but are very interested in doing that in the future. And so it's possible we might see either budget revisions over the course of the year or in next year's budget proposals an increase, because there was definitely more interest expressed than those who were able to incorporate it in their budgets at this point in time. And then, so when the committee met last week, the issues that they had to resolve before bringing the recommendation of the commission were, as I mentioned, deviations from those recommended expense ratios. And we had 3 grantees that deviated from the personnel and non-personnel expenditures based on infrastructure and contract service costs. And we had 1 grantee that deviated from the program administrative ratio due to emphasizing or developing more of their HR component and their operations piece. And so those were reviewed and approved by the committee. They also reviewed late and substantially incomplete submissions, and there were 3 grantees that fell into that category, but ultimately accepted those submissions and recommended some action for staff follow-up with 2 of those 3 grantees due to a pattern of lateness. And then capital additions, there was 1 grantee that had a capital addition in their budget that amounted to less than 2% of their grant award, and it was for improving their existing buildings to make it a more welcoming space for staff and for where they would be meeting clients. And then as far as non-qualifying activities, we didn't have any that needed to be elevated to the committee, either because there were none proposed, or if there was any question about anything, staff was able to resolve that with the grantee before needing to take anything to the committee. And so since staff has finished wrapping up its sort of administrative pieces with grantees and closed out budget review, and all of these particular questions have been resolved at the committee level, the committee had recommended approval of all 110 budgets based on the attachments that you had in your meeting materials for today. So happy to take any questions, or if Catherine has any additional comments on the committee process before we get to the resolution.
I don't have any other comments, and thank you for the thorough report, Erica.
Sure.
Yes, thank you. Any questions from members of the commission? I have just like 1 or 2. Are you seeing any trends in the multi-year budgeting at all? Are most of the organizations budgeting over the 4 years, or are they not taking it up?
I don't have sort of a proportion or a percentage breakdown off the top of my head, but I will say that no, it's fine. Just anecdotally, we did see a good number of grantees budget out, but maybe not over 4 years. I would say I saw a number that maybe were taking advantage of 2 years or even going into the 3rd year. But we also did see a good amount that were strictly anticipating being able to spend the funding in 1 year.
Awesome. Okay.
Which was, I think, at least for me, a little bit more surprising. Yeah, there is definitely a good amount that appreciate that flexibility and are taking advantage of it. And we might see something like what we saw with 2022 EAF at some point, where the grantees that thought they were going to spend in 1 year might not have been able to do so, and they'll still have that flexibility over the remaining 3 years.
Great. Okay. All right. If there's no other questions, is there a motion? Okay, so here's the resolution.
I'll move.
Catherine
Thanks.
seconds.
Okay, so Angie moves, and Catherine, you said you'd second?
Yes, but Louise can have it if she prefers.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Catherine can have it.
Okay, well, we'll give it to Louise because it's her last opportunity to do these. So, and then Catherine, you can do the next one. All right, why don't we take our vote?
Alikani,
I vote yes to approve.
thank you. Ball, Fightmaster,
Yes.
Blakemore,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Escobedo,
Yes.
Galkin, Gonzalez.
Yes,
Oh, Jason, you're here. Thank you.
I am here.
Gonzalez. Thank you. Iskin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Pine,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Milrod, Morales, Stanville,
Yes.
Vargas, Al-Saraf, Connolly.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you so much to the Eligibility Budget Review Committee for all of their hard work on this. One thing, I don't think we actually have to make this explicit, but I know that different people have different associations with organizations, and I just want to confirm with Tuan that she has the list of who they need to abstain for each of those. Okay.
We have the list, but if you recall, then that would help us too. As you're voting, you can abstain for the organization.
Okay. I just wanted to, I know this is one where there's a long list of organizations. So if there's any individuals who voted to approve but need to abstain as to particular organizations, maybe you could let us know. And if not, no worries, but just want to make sure. Okay, let's move to 4.2, which is also Erica and Catherine about the recommended approach to carryover periods for the multi-year spend downs.
Great, thanks. So yes, just a brief item about carryover period for grants with multi-year spend down, in particular 2024 IOLTA. We've received some questions about what was intended in terms of the extended spending period and whether there will be additional carryover. So for those who are not familiar, typically in the past, when a grantee has been unable to spend the entirety of their grant award in the grant period, they have been able to come to the commission and ask for a carryover. Historically, the practice has been to grant carryovers for 6 months into the next grant period. One exception to that was when the commission gave 12 months carryover for 2020 IOLTA and EAF funds due to the significant impacts of the pandemic on the operations of grantees. But outside of that, carryovers have generally been restricted to a 6-month period. Historically, IOLTA and EAF have been also limited to 1-year spending periods. The grants are administered on a yearly basis. They are dispersed entirely within 12 months. And only more recently, due to increases in award amounts, significant increases from year to year, has there been consideration of extending those spending periods. So we've seen it with 2022 Equal Access Fund grants. There was a 2-year spending period for that grant. And then for 2024 IOLTA, there will be a 4-year spending period at the option of grantees. And so, as I mentioned, the grant period is and remains 1 year, but grantees have the permission and the flexibility to spend beyond those first 4 quarters. The other thing to keep in mind is that there will be subsequent yearly allocations. So even if grantees retain 2024 funds into 2025, they will be getting additional disbursements for 2025 funds and then 2026 and so on. And so the question had arisen about whether there would be additional carryover at the end of the spending period or whether the spending period is considered the carryover. And so in discussing this with the committee last week, staff had recommended that the extended spending period be considered a pre-approved carryover, given the fact that the definitions under the grant provisions are that anything spent beyond the grant period is a carryover, and the commission has already sort of extended that approval by creating this flexible 4-year spending period. And so that is the recommendation in order to provide more clarity for both staff and grantees ahead of time to know when they are budgeting what that will actually look like, whether there will be more opportunity to carry over beyond that or not. And so the recommendation was to consider it a pre-approved carryover and then to potentially adopt that approach for additional multi-year spending periods if this is something that the commission does again in the future, in order to have a practice established that others can rely on, and have that expectation set going into it.
Thanks, Erica. Catherine, did you have any comments?
I don't. I thought the commission, the committee had a good discussion about this and was appreciative of the feedback we received from a number of legal aid programs that had provided public comment during the call. And so the recommendation to apply the rule about no additional carry forward period to the 4-year grant was one the committee was comfortable with, and seemingly understood by grantees about why that was appropriate for the 2024 IOLTA grant.
Great, thank you. Any questions from commission members? Yeah, Eloina.
Before we actually do any future votes or new votes, I do want to go back just to the last vote. So at the meeting last week, the IOLTA EAF subcommittee meeting, I did abstain from voting on the applications for agencies or organizations in Alameda County. So I did want to, I don't know if I need to just clarify that on the record, because I did not specifically mention that in the vote that we just had a few minutes ago.
I'll note that, Eloina, but if you can remember every time you vote to say that when there's like these block ones, when there's like the whole list of it, that would be helpful.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Just so there's a check on each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Any other comments or questions about the carryover approach? I had just one question. I just wanted more to confirm for that 4-year period, if organizations are moving money between the years, I'm just confirming we're treating that as sort of a budget modification with that kind of lower level of scrutiny. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We would still, want to document it and make sure that they're spending as planned, but it would not necessarily be a problem for them to do that.
Right. So it's not as if you budgeted for a year and then you realize that whatever, I got some extra funding, I want to move it out. There wouldn't be the kind of carryover type of requirement. The idea is you basically get the whole 4 years and it's assuming it's a qualified expense and we document it, it's okay to move it around.
Right.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no comments or questions, this is the resolution. Do we have any someone willing to make a motion?
Catherine moves.
Great. Thanks, Catherine. Second.
Diana Perkins.
Awesome. Thanks, Diana.
I'll do roll call. Alikani?
I vote yes to approve.
Ball? Fightmaster?
Yes.
Blakemore,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Escobedo,
Yes.
Galkin,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Iskin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes, with the caveat that my vote on this and the prior resolution, I'm abstaining as to the Disability Rights Legal Center, which is an IOLTA grantee.
thank you. Mahoney,
Yes.
Milrod, Morales, Stanville,
Yes.
Vargas, Al-Saraf, Connolly,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great. Oh, Catherine, yes.
I just wanted to ask one question of like, how does this then get communicated to grantees? Just so there's sort of a clear
Well,
paper trail that has happened, right? Or an amendment to the grant agreement or whatever you think appropriate.
we'll send out an email.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Great question. Awesome. And thank you that we'll be able to communicate that. Okay. Thank you. And thanks to, again, to Eligibility Budget Review. That's a lot of work. So really appreciate the reviewing all of that and coming up with a good policy on that. All right, let's turn now to 4.3, which is the recommendations for the bank grant funding. And that's Jennifer and Tammy.
Thank you. Let me just start the presentation. Okay, so this is 4.3 approved recommendations for 2024 to 2025 bank grant funding. And I'll be presenting with Tammy Mahoney, who is the chair of the Bank Grants Committee. We'll go over some background, the review process, scores, funding recommendations, and then a resolution. This is the grant making timeline. Today is November 9th. The commission is meeting to approve the awards, and then the grant period will begin on January 1st. These are 2-year grants. So some background on selection criteria. The following was approved on July 28th, 2023, limiting eligibility to qualified legal services projects and support centers. Projects must provide legal assistance in either foreclosure prevention or community redevelopment. Projects must include a minimum of 1 partnership and or subgrant, and the following funding caps were set based on the number of total organizations involved in the project. So 2 organizations, including the applicant, could receive up to $500,000 total. 3 organizations could receive up to $600,000 total. 4 organizations up to $750,000 total. And 5 or more organizations could receive up to $900,000 total. To review about the review process, we received 29 applications. 21 were from QLSPs and 8 were from support centers. Applicants requested a total of $14,388,163. The average request was $496,144, and the median request was $500,000. The total funds available are $4,520,570. And given the short time frame to review, the commission delegated authority to the Bank Grants Committee, and commissioner staff's team scored applications. This is just a refresher of the rubric. There were a total of 5 rubric categories. The rubric was used as a tool to guide evaluations. Scores did not guarantee funding, and the committee had the ability to exercise discretion to make awards to accomplish the goals of the bank grants. The committee aimed to distribute grants statewide and achieve a diversity of bank grant interventions, and this required a post-rubric comparative analysis. So these are the first 4 categories of the rubric. They include project impact and strategies, administration, project evaluation, and serving rural populations. The last category of the rubric was partnerships and or subgrants. And in total, the 5 rubric categories added up to 85 possible points. Scores. So the scoring team consisted of 4 people. This included the committee chair, a commissioner, and 2 staff members. The highest score was 75 and the lowest was 26. The average score was 51.97. 6 proposals were for foreclosure prevention projects, and the remaining were for community redevelopment. 8 proposals, again, were submitted by support centers, and 21 were submitted by QLSPs. The scoring team recommends funding 10 out of 29 proposals, 2 support centers and 8 QLSPs, and 2 foreclosure prevention projects and 8 community redevelopment projects. And I'm speaking on behalf of the scoring team because, unfortunately, when the committee met, there was not quorum. However, the commissioners who were present did support the proposal. So in terms of funding recommendations, the scoring team considered the following factors, among others: the proportionality of the project deliverables to funding request, the need to cut approximately $850,000 from the combined ask of the 10 recommended applications, the applicant's capacity to implement an impactful project with less than the full amount of funding requested, and the sufficiency of the budget narrative relative to the project's overall strengths. On average, projects would receive 86% of their combined budget request, and staff communicated with each applicant regarding whether they would need to adjust deliverables if they received the recommended amount. Applicants responded that they either would not need to modify deliverables or would do so proportionately to the decrease in funding. These are the projects that the scoring team recommends funding in order of score from highest to lowest. This also shows the requested amount and the recommended funding amount. So I'll leave that on the screen for a moment. And I can also pause here to ask if there are any questions. Okay, and also Tammy, please feel free to interject at any time. Okay. So the 10 recommended projects all include subgrants. 7 scored exceed expectations in 2 or more categories. 9 out of 10 serve rural populations. And these projects would serve every county, but they would focus on 9 counties in particular. You can learn more about that in attachment E from the memo. And the projects would balance QLSP and support center services. So we wanted to provide a sampling of services the proposals will provide for both foreclosure prevention and community redevelopment. We have foreclosure prevention legal services to rural homeowners who are often non-English speaking persons of color, as well as foreclosure prevention to rural seniors. For community redevelopment, we have legal services to low-income Black, Indigenous, and women-led micro-businesses, advocacy for housing stability for survivors of gender-based violence, building capacity for impacted communities to advocate for social housing and renter protections, and assessing and developing a new training program for pro bono management to improve outcomes for low-income Californians. Again, I'm happy to field questions, but this is the resolution.
Thanks, Jennifer. Tammy, did you have any comments?
No comments to add to that. Thank you, Jennifer, for covering it.
Great, thank you. Any questions from anyone on the commission? I think the one question I had, just because it was a little bit ambiguous in the memo, and maybe I just was reading it too quickly, is for the programs because they got a little bit of reduced funding, it said you guys confirmed either that they would do the same deliverables or would reduce. And I'm just curious kind of if there were any trends in that, did most kind of adjust down, or were they able to sort of bring in other funding?
Well, we actually didn't ask if they would bring in other funding. However, I would say there was a pretty even mix of projects that needed to adjust down and projects that were able to maintain the same deliverables. And all of the projects that adjusted downward did so, once again, proportionate to the decrease in their budgets.
Oh yeah, that's what I assumed, but I just wanted to check because I was curious about that. I'm impressed with the ones who are able to keep doing the same deliverables even with the reduced amounts. So very interesting. Okay. Since I don't see any other questions, do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Thanks, Tammy. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Louise. All right, let's take our vote.
Alikani,
I vote yes.
Ball, Whitemaster,
Yes.
Blakemore,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Escobedo,
Yes.
Galkin,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes, but abstaining as to the organizations in Alameda County, which I believe is just East Bay Community Law Center.
thank you. Iskin,
Yes, and I also abstain as to Bates Sedek, and that abstention, Dewan, should carry throughout the votes today.
thank you. King,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Morales, I'm sorry, Milrod, Morales, Sandville,
Yes.
Vargas, Al-Saraf, Connolly,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great. And thanks to the Bank Grants Committee and to the staff. A lot of work kind of doing discretionary funding and going through the rubric and scoring. So very grateful for the work and getting kind of a really good result out of that. It sounds like we're going to be funding some really great projects. So I really appreciate the efforts on that. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think my suggestion is we do 4.4 and then we take a bio break since we will have been going about 2 hours, and then we can come back and do 4.5 and then our regulatory proposals. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. I just think 4.5 may take a little longer time. So why don't we turn to 4.4, the recommendations for the Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship RFP. And that is Elizabeth, Lauren, and Vanetta.
Thanks, Erica. So the Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship Grants Committee is chaired by Vanetta Campbell, and Efrain Escobedo is also on the committee, along with 2 members of the State Bar's Council on Access and Fairness. As you know, the commission funded the first cohort of law student summer fellows this past summer, and staff are currently reviewing our grantee evaluations. We hope to present our law student survey results as well as those evaluation findings to you at a future meeting. But for today's agenda item, I would like to turn it over to Lauren and also invite Committee Chair Vanetta to chime in as well.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm going to share my screen to go over agenda item 4.4. Okay, so today I'm going to present to you on the Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship Grants Committee's recommendation for the approval of the 2024 RFP and for the delegation of authority to the Executive Committee to approve award recommendations. As Elizabeth mentioned, the committee chair is Vanetta Campbell, and my name is Lauren McGarry. I'm a senior program analyst in the Office of Access and Inclusion. All right, so just a quick reminder about the Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship Program. This is a grant that provides Legal Services Trust Fund grant recipients with funding to offer a paid opportunity to law students who will contribute to their legal aid work over the summer. On the slide, we have Business and Professions Code, which states it establishes the Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship Grant. It also identifies the source of funding for the grant, which is the $5 of the $45 contribution for legal aid on attorney licensing fee statements. It makes this opportunity only available to QLSPs and support centers through a competitive grants process. And it states that preference shall be given to fund proposals for fellowships serving rural or underserved communities and that serve clients regardless of immigration or citizenship status. This allocation is in effect from January 2023 to December 2024. So for the 2023 grant cycle, award recipients received funding for between 1 and 6 law students. Each grantee was required to provide the students with $7,500 in compensation, and they were eligible to receive up to $2,500 to cover direct and indirect costs related to the fellowship. We had a cohort of 81 law students from 35 organizations. 76 were commission funded and 5 were funded by our partner organization, California Change Lawyers. California Change Lawyers also provided programming for the fellows to participate in, including professional development webinars and in-person mixers. Throughout the grant cycle, State Bar staff had conversations with various stakeholders to gain feedback on the process, including a debrief with the committee and one with law school representatives. These conversations led to State Bar staff recommending and the committee agreeing to several changes to the RFP and the timeline for the 2024 grant. So one key point of feedback was around the timing of law school student recruitment. Law school representatives identified that the timing of the 2023 grant cycle with the late April funding decisions was difficult for schools making their own funding decisions, as they also support some of their students working in the public interest during the summer. Additionally, 2 grantees declined funding because they were not able to recruit and confirm their summer fellows given the short time frame between when awards were announced and when the summer began. Both grantees and law schools shared that most law students secure their summer opportunities by early spring, with many students participating in public interest career fairs, which are traditionally held in late January or early February. Anecdotally, they have also indicated that it would be helpful in their recruitment to be able to share that summer law student positions have confirmed funding. Another point of feedback was suggestions for greater clarity and specificity in the language for some of the selection criteria and funding preferences category descriptions. The impact category, for instance, in the 2023 application, did not specifically prompt responses related to the larger impact that these law student fellows would have on the organization. There was also some overlap between the descriptions for the supervision category and the support category. And for the rural funding preferences question, I'm sorry, it did not lead to the specific identification of the rural areas that the fellows would be serving. One other main point of feedback was around the scoring. There was feedback that the funding preferences scores should be higher to allow for more meaningful consideration of the legislature's funding preferences. So here are, in response to these points of feedback, the committee agreed to several new approaches for the 2024 grant. To address the timing issue, the committee agreed to moving the timeline up so that grantees will know that they will receive a funding award before the early law student recruitment season. To address the need for greater clarity and specificity in the language of the selection criteria and funding preferences descriptions, there was an addition of an organizational benefit category to capture the anticipated larger impact that this fund would have on the organization. There were also revisions to the rubric description language for the supervision and support categories to clarify the distinction between the two. And there was the addition of the MSSA tract identification requirement to the serves rural populations preference category. To address the need for more meaningful consideration of funding preference categories, the total points possible for the selection criteria changed from 88 points in the 2023 grant cycle to 70 points in the 2024 grant cycle. and the total points possible for the funding preferences categories increased from 12 points in the 2023 grant cycle to 30 points in the 2024 grant cycle. And this slide shows the rubric as it appears in the RFP. You'll notice that at the top where it says total points possible, you'll notice that selection criteria now has the 70 points possible, funding preferences has the 30 points possible, and there's also the addition of the organizational benefit category. The RFP also has the more detailed category descriptions in which you see the edits to the language for the supervision, support, and rural preferences categories. Okay, and so now this slide references the Business and Professions Code that establishes the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission and its responsibilities, including in making grant decisions. The Legal Aid Leaders Fellowship Grants Committee is made up of 2 members of the Council on Access and Fairness and 2 commission members. So because there are non-commissioners participating, it is appropriate for the commission or the executive committee, if authority is delegated to it, to approve the committee's recommendations. The timeline for this grant cycle does not exactly align with the already established commission meeting schedule. So as such, staff requested and the committee agreed to an atypical approval process for the RFP. The committee voted to recommend approval of the 2024 RFP at its September 6th meeting to ensure sufficient time for grantees to submit applications and the committee to review applications and make funding recommendations this fall. Staff released the RFP and application to QLSPs and support centers on September 11th. The committee is currently reviewing applications and will continue this review throughout the month of November. Something else to note is the number and size of awards will depend on how much the State Bar collects from the $5 increase during the 2024 fee cycle, which depends on how many State Bar licensees opt out of that contribution. So due to the timing of collecting revenue through the licensing fee cycle and the recruiting period for summer positions, the committee agreed to making tentative funding recommendations before the end of the calendar year so that grantees may be notified of their eligibility for funding in advance of the summer recruitment process. Additionally, the committee may meet in March 2024 after the fee cycle is complete and revenue collected to finalize recommendations. The committee recommends the commission delegate authority to the executive committee to also meet before the end of the 2023 calendar year to approve the committee's tentative award recommendations. The aim will be to have the commission approve the final awards at the March 29th meeting, and if it's not possible, to call an ad hoc executive committee meeting. So now I want to pause here for a moment to see if there are any questions, as the next slide has the proposed resolutions.
Thanks, Lauren. Any questions from commissioners? Vanetta, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Do you have a statement? Sorry.
I'll just that feedback from stakeholders regarding the 2023 application process was really quite helpful, in terms of our revision for 2024. So I will make a big difference. I just also want to thank Lauren and Elizabeth for their presentation.
Great. Thanks, Vanetta. Sorry, I usually try to be good about saying that and I forgot. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions on this? Sorry, I'm like the picky one, so I'm just gonna ask. I had a couple questions. I just wanted to confirm. So the reason the suggestion is to go to the executive committee and not to the actual committee is because of the presence of the non-commissioners on that committee, meaning
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the request is to go to the executive committee because this is the last meeting of the year for the commission. I believe we will be canceling the December meeting if that hasn't already happened. And so because grantees would feel more comfortable recruiting for these positions once they had confirmed funding. We wanted to be able to tell them they have recommended funding so that they could say that when recruitment begins in January.
Sorry, thank you, Elizabeth. That's very helpful. I figured that on the timing. What I wasn't sure about was, is that also meaning we couldn't delegate authority to the LALF grants committee?
No. Yeah, that's correct. Out of an abundance of caution, council has advised us that XCOM or the commission should approve the committee's recommendations because it is a mixed group.
Okay, that was my question, was that because sometimes we delegate to the actual committee. And so the reason we're not here is because of the presence of non-commissioners.
Correct.
That's why. Okay. That was my only question. I totally understand the timing part of it, but thank you for clarifying that. And so in this, we're doing both. We're kind of ratifying the RFP and everything that's already gone out. And then the actual recommendations will come up and then XCOM or the committee will make its recommendations and then they'll go to XCOM if this passes with delegation. Okay.
Correct.
Awesome. Great. Does anyone have questions or comments on this? The only thing I will say is if this passes and it gets delegated to XCOM is I highly recommend that, Vanetta and Fran, if you guys want to come to the XCOM meeting as members of the public to talk about the recommendations, we would welcome that and encourage it. So that would be the only thing I would say. Okay, do we have a motion?
Lauren, can you advance the slide?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Lauren.
Yes.
Great. Here's the proposed resolution. Okay, now I'll say, do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, thanks, Frank. A second?
Falcon will second.
Great. Thanks, Jason. All right, let's take our vote.
Alikani,
Yes.
Ball, Whitemaster,
Yes.
Whitemaster. Oh, thank you. Blakemore,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Escobedo,
Yes.
Galkin,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Iskin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yep.
Lee,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Milrod, Morales, Sandville,
Yes.
Vargas, Alsaroff, Connolly.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Oh, very exciting. Thank you to this committee for all the hard work on this. It's super awesome that we've got money going out to these organizations to encourage like law students to go work for them. It's such a good opportunity for us to help with building a pipeline. So thank you for all the work that you did on this. And yeah, very exciting. Diana, what's up? I see your hand.
Yeah, I
raised.
was just going to say, I know that one of the proposals to adjust was to kind of move forward the process. And I would say, depending obviously on, what you're hearing in terms of direct feedback, the earlier the better, because a lot of people, that want to be in public interest work, that are law school students, not knowing if they're going to receive any money for doing that work, go and get other jobs, right? And so if we can give them guaranteed money very, very early in the process, like even before the public interest fairs, that might be very beneficial. So I don't know how early you were thinking of moving it forward, but I think the earlier the better.
Diana, we are planning to let our grantees know of the tentative funding recommendation before those early public interest fairs. So yeah, we're all on the same page, I think.
Sounds good, because I have so many law school students that I teach that are like, well, maybe I'll just go get a job. And I'm like, wait, just wait.
Yeah. Tell them. We have fun. We have money coming. But yes, we can continue. I think, we can talk through whether next year we can even move it forward more, how we can adjust it. It all kind of depends on the funds. But yeah, that's a great feedback. And thank you again to the committee and bumping it up already. So very good. All right, so we've been going for about 2 hours. How about we take a 5-minute break? Everyone stretch your legs, bio break, whatever, and then we'll come back and get started with 4.5. Okay. Thank you all. Our next, we'll go ahead and get started. Our next item is 4.5, which is action on the Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organizations, HP3 formula grant. And I'm going to turn this one over to Jennifer and Efrain. Jennifer, are you taking the lead?
Thank you. Let me just put this in presenter mode. So I'll be presenting with Efrain. Again, this is to approve recommendations on CCWRO's HP3 formula grant. We'll go over some background, a review of CCWRO's submitted materials, and then the proposed resolution. So State Bar staff discovered irregularities with CCWRO's HP3 formula grant through a review of all HP2 grant deliverables, CCWRO's HP3 formula desk review, and CCWRO's 2023 monitoring visit. Staff identified the following issues in particular. CCWRO failed to segregate activities and expenditures for its HP2 and 3 formula awards. It failed to track actual expenditures by grant. It reported and potentially double counted and or supplanted the same work for both grants. And it reported and expended funds on non-qualifying work. Sorry, I think I skipped a few slides somehow. Okay. So staff have been working with CCWRO for a number of months, specifically since May, to explain grant requirements, to explain Homelessness Prevention Funds Committee decisions, and to help CCWRO revise its grant materials. The memo provides a detailed sequence of events related to these irregularities, but we wanted to highlight today that looking at CCWRO's HP3 desk audit, on May 31st, staff issued its finding for CCWRO's desk review. Staff required CCWRO to respond with a corrective action plan by June 30th. As mentioned previously, CCWRO reported some non-qualifying work. Staff helped CCWRO to identify qualifying versus non-qualifying activities and helped CCWRO understand how to retroactively deduct non-qualifying work it billed to its HP3 formula grant. And again, staff have met with CCWRO numerous times throughout the course of several months to try to clarify these grant requirements. And I just want to say, if there are any questions at any time, I'm happy to answer. And Michael Chang, who is our fiscal program supervisor, is also on hand to help answer questions. So now we'll talk about a review of CCWRO's submitted materials. CCWRO's deliverables were consistently late, incomplete, and or inaccurate, and often required multiple rounds of revisions. CCWRO revised its timesheets for staff working on its HP3 formula grants at least 3 times. Part of the HP3 desk audit process includes submitting a grant allocation worksheet for August 2022. CCWRO continued to provide its grant allocation worksheet that combined rather than segregated its HP2 and 3 grants. These are separate funding sources. HP2 is a state funding source, HP3 is federal. They have different time periods and reporting requirements. An updated expense allocation worksheet that segregated its HP3 formula grant was submitted on October 6, 2023. And CCWRO's HP3 timesheets and cost allocation worksheets still do not align with its HP3 general ledger. These continued revisions and inconsistencies, as well as the discrepancies between CCWRO's other materials that we'll discuss, raise concerns about its internal controls, especially for grantees who are awarded federal funds. And as a result, staff remain concerned that CCWRO remains non-compliant with all of the federal requirements for its HP3 formula grant. So the HP Funds Committee has met with CCWRO on multiple occasions to try to address concerns about its grants. So on August 31st, the committee passed the following resolutions. Resolved that the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission Homelessness Prevention Funds Committee approves requiring CCWRO to submit a spend down plan for its HP2 formula funding from August 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023 to staff by October 1st, 2023. And it is further resolved that the committee approves requiring CCWRO to submit a spend down plan for its HP3 formula funding from August 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2024 to staff by October 1st, 2023. CCWRO submitted spend down plans for both grants on October 1st. However, both plans deviated significantly from CCWRO's accounting reports. Specifically, CCWRO underreported approximately $20,000 in HP2 formula funds and approximately $40,000 in HP3 formula funds. The committee met again to discuss CCWRO's grants, specifically HP3, on October 20th, and at that meeting passed the following resolution. Resolved that the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission Homelessness Prevention Funds Committee approves requiring CCWRO to revise its HP3 formula grant on the Q7 expenditure report due October 31st, 2023 to reflect its actual expenditures. And it is further resolved that if CCWRO fails to revise its HP3 formula grant completely, accurately, and on time by the October 31st deadline, that the committee recommends that the LSTFC require CCWRO to return any disallowed costs from its HP3 formula grant award as defined in staff's memo dated October 20th, 2023. Ephraim, I don't know if you wanted to give a little background here as well.
Sure, and I know you've got some slides more down the line to just make sure. I think part of a key part for the committee and staff sort of walking through the situation is also just understanding the source funding for HP3, and how it's definitely a lot different than some of the other grants we do. And I know, Jennifer, you'll cover that as far as because it's federally funded through American Rescue Plan Act dollars, has certain different requirements, expectations on compliance, documentation, and monitoring. I think the point I would make is that there was a lot of robust discussion at our committee meeting. We had an opportunity to speak with the executive director of the organization of CCWRO. And while we did pass a pretty clear and concrete action, there was also the expectation that the committee asked of staff to continue sort of an approach of working in tandem with, being available to support the organization as it went to the October 31st deadline. As you can see in the slide, in the bottom 3 bullets, there was, similar to the other actions and struggles, it has sort of a failure to meet what was required by the October 31st deadline. And so I think that subsequent to the meeting, I had an opportunity to also get an update from staff, knowing that October 31st had been the deadline as they were preparing for our full commission meeting today. And even in that report back, it seemed like there's just not the documentation and the information that we had needed, that we had hoped we could get from our last meeting in conversation with CCWRO, both not just staff, but the committee's conversation as well with the organization at our last meeting. So I'll stop there. I just wanted to share that because this resolution did represent the committee's action. There was robust conversation and a unanimous support for taking this action by adopting the resolution. And so we are receiving then now the subsequent actions by the organization after adopting the resolution. So Jennifer, I know you've got a couple more slides, and I appreciate you letting me give a little bit more of the committee's perspective and how we've been working with staff and the organization through this process.
Sure. Thanks, Ephraim. And I will address the bullet points, but I do see a few hands raised. I think Eric had his hand raised first.
Yeah, I did. You may get to this, Jennifer, but assuming we pass this resolution, in light of the developments since, well, as of October 31, what's going to happen?
Sure. So I would respectfully suggest that we put a pause on that because just of the progression of the slides, if that's okay. But I promise we will get to that.
Okay.
And then I think Catherine had her hand raised.
I'm happy to wait till you finish your slides.
Okay, great. If other questions arise, please let me know. So as Ephraim alluded to, after the committee passed the resolution, staff contacted CCWRO to remind them of the resolution and explained that in order to comply with the resolution, CCWRO needed to not only submit the Q7 expenditure report to reflect its actual expenditures, but also submit documentation that substantiated how it spent its funds for all months of the grant, as well as a revised HP3 Spenddown plan. Unfortunately, while CCWRO submitted a revised HP3 Spenddown plan and its Q7 expenditures report on October 31st, it did not submit documentation needed to substantiate the entirety of the grant. So on November 1st, staff once again reached out to CCWRO to check in on the missed materials, which resulted in their late submission of documentation to substantiate cost allocations for 2023, but not 2022 on November 2nd. The subsequent HP3 Spenddown plan that CCWRO submitted on October 31st relied on a budget revision that they haven't yet officially requested. But more importantly, given that at this point, none of CCWRO's 2022 HP3 formula costs have been substantiated, staff cannot comfortably recommend approval of it. Instead, we would recommend that they submit a different Spenddown plan based on the resolution that's passed. I will note that additional information was submitted by CCWRO effectively yesterday. It was submitted on the calendar day of the 7th, but after business hours. Staff have not yet had an opportunity to analyze it. It would take a number of hours to do so. I see Diana has her hand raised.
And I don't want to cut you off. So you said you had more slides.
Let me just save my commentary, but yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, the next slide is the proposed resolution. And this is the resolution as it was written in staff's memo. After reviewing the documentation CCWRO submitted on November 2nd, which supported its 2023 HP3 expenditures, but not its 2022 expenditures, staff would recommend revising the resolution to say that CCWRO would be required to return $147,348 in disallowed costs. And that would be the amount of funds that it received for its HP3 grant for 2022. So I know that there are a lot of questions and I'm happy to take those.
And Jennifer, sorry to interrupt, and I know you've gotten aside, but just to support the conversation and provide as much information as possible to the commissioners, can you do your slide that just goes over the 2 CFR and sort of what
Sure.
A lot of this seems like not practices we generally do for other grants, so I think it's important to just make sure we provide that overview real quick.
Sure. So Ephraim is referring to the Code of Federal Regulations, which governs federal award compliance for HP3 grantees. And it requires grantees to ensure that changes to the award accurately reflect allowable, properly allocated salaries and wages that reflect work performed, to reconcile projected expenditures and actual expenditures at least annually before the end of a grantee's fiscal year, to adequately document costs and only bill allowable costs, and to return unallowed costs. And below, I just gave a note that CCWRO's fiscal year ends in June. Therefore, it should have corrected its expenditures in June of 2023. However, because it missed that deadline, and because grantees may not correct quarterly HP3 expenditure reports once that data has been reported, the HP Funds Committee required CCWRO to make those corrections for the next quarterly report. And that was the Q7 report due on October 31st. And that was a deadline for all grantees.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Sure. Diana.
Yeah, you might be on mute. I don't know if you've started talking or not.
Did we go back to, to Catherine's comment if Diana's maybe stepped away?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eric had also
Okay, go ahead. Sure, let's go ahead, Catherine, and then if Eric does.
I actually just have some questions. So first of all, I appreciate the requirements of the federal grant. Having operated a number of those, I think that was a fair presentation of what grantees are required to do. I guess my first question is, were those CFR sections incorporated into the grant agreement for these particular funds so that people knew from the beginning that those were requirements, either by reference or a specific attachment?
I don't have the grant in front of me, so I would invite a colleague to jump in.
I'll jump in. All of the requirements are referenced back to the grant agreement. I don't know if it calls like specifically this code section, but it references like the sections that are applicable. Brady put that into the grant agreement for the and
so I understand that it's like you're required to follow all applicable federal statutes, but these are very specific, and I think many grantees had not previously administered federal grants, which I think was one of the particular challenges. And so I guess to me, if it wasn't specifically called out from the beginning, it just is something for us to consider. I think I don't know that it changes the outcome, but I think an important practice, particularly when we're moving into new territory, is to make sure that every grantee fully understands what the different reporting requirements are, because these are very specific compared to sort of a more general kind of requirements. I'll just say that. And then I guess my second question is, you talked a lot about meeting with the staff and meeting like the staff and the organization. Has there been communication with the board about the seriousness of these problems and kind of engagement? Because as I recall from some of the challenges we faced on the like equal access IOLTA side, is that sort of there is identified as an opportunity to send letters and things not only to the staff but to the board to make sure that as the fiduciary of the organization that they're aware of that. So I guess I'm just trying to see where we are with that.
I just actually wanted to return to your previous question and say that the grant agreement does reference the CFR, and the individual requirements were also cited. The individual requirements were also cited in the desk audits that were issued. So those were shared with all grantees.
When was the desk audit?
So
it was April. April was the desk audit. That's the desk audit is what triggered more investigation into the matter.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to go way back to the beginning of the grant. Like, so I accepted a grant and it now has these very specific requirements in it that I need, like certainly I'm not saying it's only the bar's responsibility. I just think a good practice is to make sure grantees are fully aware of the difference with the federal grant. So
no, I think that's a good point. And we can go back and I don't recall my head how explicit we were. One thing I will say in response to, there were other programs that did have somewhat issues at the desk audit. I think the difference between this that's being now highlighted and the other programs is that corrective action and correction was done pretty much immediately. This I think was the repeated failure and inability to do it that is causing us concern.
Yeah, I'm not disputing the concerns. I'm just trying to sort of satisfy myself about
no, yeah,
that's right. And I'm sorry, I might have missed what somebody said about communication with the board as the and their responsibility separate from the staff. Was there a letter sent to the board, or how does the board know about this?
I don't believe that through the HP Funds Committee, the board has been notified in particular. I'm trying to recall from the eligibility review conference if there was mention made of notifying the board.
Okay. They've received official reports like the desk audit, but there hasn't been an official kind of like warning letter, if you will, equivalent to what has been discussed at eligibility and budget review. But they have been copied on some communications regarding these ongoing concerns.
So the copy of the letter was CC'd to the board president or something, whoever the person is that signs the grant agreement with the staff?
The desk audit triple check like who got it, but the desk review report should be similar to our monitoring reports with findings go to the executive director and the board, but I'll double check and go back to see who exactly received that. And just wanted to mention too, I know Dwan referenced it when we were talking about the single audit update earlier, but that MGR auditors also did provide some training to all of our grantees to make sure that they understood a little bit more about the federal requirements and the differences with this particular grant from the beginning. And we try to continue doing that and to elevate kind of here are the requirements and here's what practically they mean to the extent that we can when we identify issues.
Okay, I have a couple other questions, but lots of people have their hands up. So why don't we do theirs? And if they're not answered with that, I'll raise my hand again.
Sure. And just before we get to, I think I see Diana next. I just want to acknowledge that Andrew Chen, who is a staff member at CCWRO, also has his hand raised. But I would defer to Erica on what order you want to take these in.
Let's start with Diana, and then we'll consider. I'd like to hear from commissioners first, given that we had public comment at the beginning. But I do want to allow him a chance to respond. Diana?
Yeah, I have very, very serious concerns about it sounds like the long history of this situation. And it reminds me of the adage, fool me once, shame on you. And it sounds like we're on fool me 7 or 8 times and still haven't gotten the information that was required in the first place. And then was politely reminded about several times with a lot of hand-holding. I'd be curious to focus on what the resolution was. If they didn't meet the October 31st deadline, they didn't meet it. And if there's a difference in the resolution that's being put forward to the commission today, because I heard that it was slightly revised. And I want to focus on that difference, because if we drew a line in the sand, and then they did not meet our expectations, which are very reasonable, it strikes me that we should stick to what we said we would do.
Sure.
Diana, just to clarify, I think we have the one resolution, which is the one up on the screen. The other two were providing sort of the history of action. So those were adopted by the committee, to your point. So those deadlines were set. They're not for consideration today.
And the resolution that I saw on the screen previously, which was if you don't do it by October 31st, then, and we have the disallowed cost language, it looks like a frame, right? Was there any other piece that was not carried over from the prior resolution, which was passed by your group? Or is it the same?
No, that's the resolution you saw was the last one that did include in the further resolve that they were unable to meet and provide everything the staff needed by the 31st, that then the recommendation to the commission would be to request or claw back the disallowed costs that we could not sort of confirm.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification, and I'm excited to hear what the representative has to say with respect to their point of view as well.
I don't want to cut in line, but can I just clarify something? I think it was a little bit of the confusion about what Jennifer said, just so that we're all on the same page about the resolution. So the resolution that's before you is the resolution that the committee adopted. It doesn't, that resolution is not like in effect until the commission. What Jennifer said, though, orally was a modification of the resolution. So I think that might have been the confusion. So October 1st, I'm just going to go over the facts really briefly again. The deadline was October 31st. We got it after October 31st. What Jennifer's proposing is it is a modification in terms of what that means by disallowed costs. So when we got the information on November 1st and November 2nd, we now have confidence in the expenditures for 2023. What Jennifer is suggesting now, we don't have clarification on 2022. So those disallowed costs is for the amount for that year, which is the amount 140 something. So it is slightly a modification. The other thing to point out that's material is they have submitted something else, chance to review it. So we cannot say at that point that whatever they submitted would then enable us to say that 2022 is if we have enough information to substantiate those expenditures.
And what was the justification for submitting it first 2 days late and now, yesterday?
So I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but they essentially said, oh, we didn't know we had to submit that. They submitted for 2023. We reviewed the materials as a staff and communicated on the 6th what the recommendation was going to be based on our review of those materials. At that point, CCWRO asked for further clarification about what was missing. We clarified what had been missed. I believe CCWRO probably understood that to be what was still needed. And we explained again that the deadline had passed, and they submitted subsequent materials, which, as Dwan has said, staff have not had time to review because they were submitted in completion after hours on November 7th. So effectively a business day ago.
Jason?
A couple of clarifying questions that might lead to a proposed amendment to the language here. Am I to understand that these costs are disallowed, and that because they're disallowed and the Code of Federal Regulations require disallowed costs to be returned, that functions automatically without action by the commission? And if so, should the resolution by the commission simply be to clarify that the commission is stating those costs are disallowed and therefore must be returned, as opposed to the return being a function of our authority? Because the authority is from the Federal Code of Regulations, right? That they have to be, right? And so if they're disallowed, and we're saying they are disallowed, period, we believe them to be disallowed. They're not. The return isn't a function of our authority, but a function of the Code of Federal Regulations. And I think that ought to be clear, because it's the distinction between whether we have a choice or not.
I think that's a great question. I don't know if Dwan, Rocio, or Brady wants to weigh in on that.
Okay. Well, let's give them some thought. I want to also hear from Jonathan and then from Catherine.
Sure. So I was on the October 20th call with the executive director from CCWRO, and some things came out that presents a bit of a problem, at least for me. I think and I don't want to assume anything, but he gave me the impression that the organization is facing some sort of issue dealing with staffing. So the executive director is part-time, all of his staff is part-time. He acknowledged the fact that Jennifer and Dawn and all of the other staff members have presented them with an exorbitant amount of technical assistance, and they still can't get this right. And as a former executive director and president and CEO of a nonprofit organization, I wanted to make sure that he was taking all of this very seriously. And so the executive director knew quite well. So none of this is a surprise. And there's something else that I believe that's going on. It could be a staffing issue. And he did mention that they now realize the seriousness of this and that they hired an accountant. But from what I was hearing is that the entire staff there is basically working part-time. So I don't know that they have the ability to do and deliver and execute what's needed, which sort of gives you an indication of why maybe the staff received a report yesterday or the day before when we directly had this conversation with the executive director on October 20th.
If I may, just really quickly, Jonathan, I really appreciate your comments. I just wanted to make one small clarification. And I apologize if this wasn't clear on October 20th. CCWRO's staff are not part-time. They spend part of their time on HP3. So I just wanted to make that tiny clarification. But again, I think you summarized what the conversation really well on October 20th. So thank you.
Great, thanks. Let's have Catherine go, and then I do want to give CCWRO's representative a chance too. But yeah, Catherine, go ahead.
So just my last question is, so what is the amount of the disallowance? What is the dollar amount?
It is.
Well, I think, wait, hold on, Jennifer. I think it depends on whether you are, we should walk you through the map, because they didn't submit what they needed to submit on October 31st. So Jennifer, can you walk through the 2023 numbers, the 2022, and what we feel comfortable with? But it came in after the deadline, just to be clear.
Sure. So the entire grant is $442,044, which breaks down to $147,348 per year. And thus far, 2 years of the grant have been dispersed. So let me just do that math really quickly. So for both years of the grant, it would be $294,696. If we were considering only 2022, that would be $147,348.
Okay, so, and then my question was sort of understanding what the dollar amount was. What happens? So let's assume we do this and the organization has already spent the money and hasn't received the last amount of money, which seems appropriate. But what happens if the organization can't repay? You're asking that you get the money back, and what happens if that can't happen? Because there is no money to give you back. Because they spent that money and they can't return other dollars. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to understand the remedy here. So they owe you, 100 and almost 50,000 or almost 300,000, but they're not going to be able to return other grant funds that have different requirements. So theoretically, they have to return unrestricted money or something. And like, is this I'm just trying to understand how real this is. Like we say, it's disallowed, you have to return it to us, and what actually happens. Because I'm not confident they have the money to do that. Doesn't mean we don't take the action. I'm just trying to understand, like, practically how this is supposed to work.
So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. If you want, unless you can go. I can take it if you
No, go ahead, Joanna.
So what would happen is, say you pass this resolution, we would go to invoice them, and then we would not issue, we wouldn't issue the third year, I mean, the next payment unless we receive that back. But in practice, I mean, I think what you're asking is the question we don't know, right? We don't know if they, I think we're maybe assuming that they don't, but we've never been in a situation where a current grantee does not pay us back, because we have all these other grants that then we will hold back, right? Or we will offset. And I don't think programs will, I mean, they have, if we're invoicing them, there's one way or another that we're going to get those fundings back. We've never been in a situation where they do not reach.
But can you withhold money? So like IOLTA has a very different purpose. So you can't really, I guess it's a question. Can you
I guess it's a question.
Money to pay back a very specific grant that was to do something else? I guess that's.
And I guess that's a Brady question. We've never invoiced and not been paid back, because these are our grantees that continually come back. So if there's an issue, we've always gotten paid. We've never had a non-payment issue. So it's all kind of theoretical. But Brady or Raul, are you on and can answer that in terms of what our but I don't know if that's getting ahead of ourselves, because I don't know if that's the issue, but I'm happy to see if Brady has an opinion.
I was going to say,
I actually don't. If it came down to, I don't know how if IOLTA was an issue, how that would play out off the top of my head.
I think that's like a bridge we could cross if we got there. If we do agree that, disallowed costs need to be returned, we would then look at, as mentioned, there is at least a third installment yet to be distributed for this particular grant. So, I mean, we could look at that. I think the question here is, if for these costs that are currently marked as or considered to be disallowed, would they need to then return those funds? And I think as a next step, we could practically speak and explore what that would look like if there is an issue with payment.
Thanks, Rocio. Diana, if you have your question, I do, like I said, at some point I want to make sure the CCWRO person.
One, and
yeah, please. No, go ahead.
Right into his explanation, but first I'd like to hear from the commissioners and staff who evaluated this. I heard that they revised timesheets at least 3 times. Did someone take a deep dive into those, and what was the justification for revising time in such a way, not just once, but twice and maybe 3 times?
I would invite Michael, if you wouldn't mind, our program supervisor for the fiscal team, who took the lead on the analysis from that end.
Sure, that's a great question. It was also, I think, unexpected on our end, because we've explained it to the organization several times, that the purpose of the desk review is to compare your actual activity from your timesheets, which is what it needs to document, to what was expensed, which oftentimes is based off a budget and is typically detailed in your allocation worksheets. And so one aspect of the discussion was documentation of your timesheets. So we received from the organization those documents and was later provided revisions. I think what I recall was based off of clerical errors on their part. That was the reason that we understood that the timesheets were revised. Subsequent revisions, and I think this was perhaps an area where it was still, again, unclear. Your timesheets are your actual activity. Your allocations are your budgeted estimates for the expense. The point of the reconciliation is to true up your expenses based off your activity, not to change your timesheets and your activity time to coincide with what you expensed, which was budgeted. So we've explained that several times, but I think that's a great question. I wanted to make sure we address and provide that clarity as to our understanding of why timesheets were revised and submitted to us.
Thanks, Michael. Do we want to, why don't we allow the CCWRO rep to make his comment?
I think there's both the executive director and a staff attorney have their hands raised, Erica.
Why don't we start with the executive director?
Jennifer, which one is that?
That's Kevin.
Okay.
I would rather Andrew go first and then I'll finish, okay?
Oh, okay.
Maybe-
That's fine.
Yeah.
No problem. I guess we'll go with Andrew.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Andrew Chen. I am the Homelessness and Housing Staff Attorney at CCWRO. I don't have complete information as far as all of the documents that were submitted in terms of accounting. So I'm just going to speak from my perspective in terms of what the perceived problem with the grant reporting was and what steps I've been personally asked to take, as well as what the problems were. So this whole conflict began because CCDR Bureau was treating HB2 and HB3 as successive iterations of the same grant as opposed to two separate grants. And all of the issues since then have sort of been related to the disentangling of those. As far as the submission and the revision of timesheets goes, that began with our estimation as to the split of work that was done between HB2 and HB3. We ultimately decided that that was going to be a 64-36 split percentage between HB3 and HB2. And revisions of the timesheets, at least of what I've been told to do, have been to estimate, the time that was given to each grant, month by month, week by week, report the hours accordingly, and to submit those as timesheets. So that's what I've done, multiple times in a row now. The last time that I had met with staff with the State Bar, who again I appreciate for all of your technical assistance, I was told that the timesheets that I had submitted were okay, and that there wasn't additional information that I needed to submit. That may have been the meeting on the 20th. I don't remember, or that may have been before or after. The most recent communication that I've had was on, I believe, the 3rd. Yeah, on the 3rd, when I was told that I should submit an additional round of revised timesheets with more granular hourly breakdowns because some of the monthly totals did not add up to 64 and 36% exactly. And so I feel like I've been in a difficult position because we are talking about estimates of time based on segregation of two grants that had not been considered to be two separate grants when the actual work took place. And so it's difficult to go back and say, well, it was all an estimation, and I have, done everything in my power to repost that accurately, but I have been concerned and confused, I guess, as to the necessity for the repeated revisions in light of, you know, the fact that we are dealing with estimates of previous time that were not, and work that was done without the knowledge that they were two separate grants and two separate reporting requirements. You know, I personally, you know, have a great deal of experience in terms of reporting more complicated grants, you know, including, you know, my time at public counsel and Bethzedek in Los Angeles when I was working there as a housing attorney. You know, I think we have the tools going forward to make sure that the remainder of the grant are reported and segregated correctly. You know, I'm looking forward to do that. I do think that, you know, requiring the return of all of the funds from last year would mean that I would have to stop working at CCWRO and I would lose my job. And I would note that I don't think, as far as I understand, the commission and the state bar have not expressed, you know, outside of an issue we had with care court work related to care court, and whether that fell in. And we did decide that there was 80 hours of work done that could not be counted for HP because they were related to care court, which the state bar determined was not within the scope of the grant. Aside from that, there haven't been any substantive issues with the work that was performed. I know that I've done good work in terms of my writing and presenting and research and guidance for QLSPs in terms of best practices and other things done. In terms of guiding QLSPs around housing and homelessness issues. I have a great deal of experience with these things, and I feel like the discussion, as I've been hearing it, has been kind of abstract in terms of returning the money. And to my mind, at least, I know that I've been doing good work, and returning all of that grant, losing the grant would mean the loss of my job. And to me, that seems like a stark remedy when the issue isn't with the actual person performing the work or the work being done. And I think that's my piece on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Is your Kevin, Mr. Hazlanian, do you have something you'd like to say? Kevin, I'm not sure if you're speaking. You were muted. So.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah. So this has been a long day, and it's been very, very frustrating for me, to say the very least. First of all, HP2 and HP3 and Smart and Simple are entered as one number. They're not segregated in Smart and Simple. So that's a major issue for people to understand, that these are separate, even though it comes from different places, but you bill them. And the way we bill is we bill by submitting claims to Smart and Simple. And Smart and Simple doesn't have HP3 here, HP2 here. It's all boxed into one piece. The only way we are billed, and I think that the report says that CCW was billed to its HP2 and 3 formula grants, but we were never billed. We claimed in the Smart and Simple. We have never refused to, since CCW initially declined to revise HP2 and 3 formula expenditure reports, we've never refused to revise and modify them. We had an issue with an accountant, and we changed the accountant. We hired a new accountant. In fact, we told the committee that. And they were asking us for allocation, and they never explained what do you mean by allocation. And allocation, apparently, at the end, we understood what the allocation was, and we submitted allocation expenses, the dollars and the percentages. We've never estimated what how much for HP2, HP3, 40, 90, 90, 90, 10, 82. It doesn't work that way. It's clear. We always do. 64 is HP3, 36 is HP2. I have that in my dumb head. Okay, it's ingrained in there. In the time card that was returned for my part, my salary changed from 2022 to 2023. And 2022 was 16%, and 2023 was 13%. And somehow I mixed it up. 13, it was a typo, and we corrected those typos and sent it in. So it wasn't a major revision; it was just a typo. So now we know the allocation sheets, and we've sent allocation sheets for 2022. I'm not sure how I'm going to send back the $147. Do I have to mortgage my house? Maybe that's what the remedy is. I don't know. And I've been doing this for many years, and this is just sort of see, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of way oh yeah, I've never been part-time. I've been doing this for 50 years, and I always work 10, 12 hours a day. I'm sorry. And I could answer any questions that you may have, unless somebody else is on the line. Susan, are you on the line?
Hold on one second. Kim, is there anyone else?
I see someone said, by says Susan Guest. Do you want me to allow them to talk?
Yeah. Sure. Why don't we allow one more comment, and then I do want, before we allow her, I see Ephraim's hand raised, so I do want to give him an opportunity to make a comment.
Thank you, Erica. I actually just have a clarifying question, just hearing Andrew and Kevin. So in terms of the confusion of HP2 and HP3, and this is more for staff, so I just want to confirm, these funds are not sort of, these funds weren't provided under one grant agreement that was just amended.
They were
These
not.
are separate.
No, they were not.
They are different. They are different grants you have to apply to, different funding sections in involved with different reporting requirements and deadlines. So they, even when you log into the platform, they are separate. They each have their own grant agreement and schedules, as Jennifer alluded to, for reporting and even disbursement, different dollar amounts, different payments.
That's not what I said. I didn't say that one grant, but I said that they're entered into Smart and Simple as one amount. That's what I said.
They should not be. There are different reports for each HP, for each individual grant. Even if you have, for example, CCWRO has HP3 formula grants. We also have HP3 competitive grants. And each of those had a separate report for each, even within HP3. Those aren't merged. There are different reports and forms that you have to fill out if you receive two different types of HP3 funds. So that's definitely
we only get HP2 and HP3. We don't get competitive. If it was competitive, it would have been different. What I'm saying is HP3 formula and HP2 are all entered into Smart and Simple as one number.
They should not be. They do each have HP2.
I will send it to
report.
Okay.
Give me the email addresses, I'll send it to them.
Okay. I don't want to get this into a factual dispute about screenshots. What I would like, what I will just make this comment, and then I'm happy to have the other member of the public make their comment. I do just briefly want to respond to Andrew and Kevin's comments that and this is for the commission as well. This consideration is not about the quality of your work and the work that you do for indigent individuals. The issue here is that we are a grant administrator. We have to ensure that the funds that we distribute are being used in an appropriate way. And the way in which we ensure that they're being used in an appropriate way is to conduct things like audits and to ensure that the organizations themselves have enough documentation so that they can show us that the money was used in an appropriate way. And then we can, if necessary, report to the feds, report to the state, to the legislature, report to our auditors that we ourselves are doing the sufficient oversight of that. So it sort of all piles up. So I want to make this clear. I have no doubt that the actual work, it was good work and that it was helping people. The problem is we're talking about public money. There is a lot of oversight and regulation of public money. And so that's why there are these significant regulations. And I know it doesn't feel like that's very as crucial as the actual work, but given that these are public, it's the public fisc, that I just want to make sure we're all understanding. That is the nature of this discussion, is about our controls and thereby your controls on the money. Okay, now let me allow Susan.
I have one question. What is the due process remedies for this?
Well, we haven't taken a vote yet. And so I'd like to allow Susan to respond, but then if you have questions about that, I'm sure we can, Brady's on the line and we can have further conversation about it, but let's let Susan have her comment.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I am the new accountant that came on, and I am very specialized in nonprofits. And what Erica, what you said is very true. I thank you for saying that. They have done great work, and it's just understanding what documentation is needed. And each funder has different requirements and different terminology. So one of the things that sounds terrible is that we kept resubmitting those timesheets. It's because they were asking for allocations and our interpretation of allocations with timesheets. So we thought they were wrong. We tried to resubmit them. Could we change something? Not understanding that it was financial records. So when we finally clarified that, we were able to do that, but it did take sending them. We thought this is what you needed, and it isn't. So we've tried really hard to separate everything and provide what's needed, but sometimes we didn't understand, especially with me. I didn't come on until August. So I know they were trying to fix it before then and reaching out for help. So I hope you take that into consideration as well, that we really tried to understand what's needed and provide it, because sometimes we didn't get the terminology right. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Tammy?
Yeah, I sat on that call on that earlier meeting back in October. It's my understanding though that staff provided probably close to 100 hours of technical assistance. So hearing, that there were misunderstandings, I feel like there was so much technical assistance provided from the onset of this problem. I just, again, want to reiterate, I think staff spent tons of time trying to get this to the right resolution. And I don't know if staff could reiterate on that, but.
I think that's accurate in terms of the number of hours. It's part of our job, and we're happy to provide TA to grantees. And the only time we would raise it, like we have with this, in terms of that being something that stands out, is the level of technical assistance and the time spent from multiple staff on various occasions. Otherwise, it is, we're happy to do it. It's part of our job. We want to support grantees and make sure that they understand there's no confusion. And so I think that description, Tammy, is fairly accurate.
Mr. Aslanian, is that how you say your name, by the way? Oh, I'm sorry. Jacqueline, go ahead. I'll let you go, and then I have a question.
The discussion that can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate all of the very robust discussion we've had during the prior meeting and this meeting. However, you know, as you reiterated, we're the administrators of the grant, and I don't see any alternative other than enforcing the scope of the grant requirements. We have to do that. And I mean, it would be very irresponsible not to do that. And I think it would not be fair to other grantees as well. But primarily, the scope of the grant has to be required, has to be adhered to. And the other, my biggest concern is that the federal regulations have to be followed. I don't see any way around that would apply. And we've already voted on this previously, and we did not get the materials and documentations and verifications that we requested. And apparently the staff members have been making these requests for quite some time. And it just seems so repetitive. We're discussing the same things over and over again. And I think, you know, everybody here has, you know, been interested in trying to help this agency to really comply. And unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be anything that we can do as a commission aside from really enforcing the grant requirement guidelines. And also we have to primarily we have to really, you know, stick to the federal regulations.
Thanks, Jacqueline. I guess my question for, you know, CCWRO is, first off, is your board aware of this situation?
Yeah, we've sent information to the board.
Okay, what's been their reaction to this?
They're shocked. I mean, anybody would be shocked. We have provided the 2022 all allocation expenses. It's in staff's hands, and that would be acceptable by the federal government. And in fact, you just had an audit report for 2022 and you passed the audit. And that information shows that every penny that we've spent has been properly spent, has been claimed, and that information came to you all. And you, I mean, I guess what Jennifer was saying, that they haven't had time to look at it. But once they look at it, they will see that just like 2023, 2022, all of the information is there. It's all consistent with the ledger. Everything's been reported.
Can I ask why it was not produced until after close of business on November 7th?
Because there was a miscommunication. We never got something saying, here is a template. Michael sent us a template time card that we used to get all the time cards in, but we never got a template allocation sheet saying, this is the type of allocation sheet you need to send in. Had we received that a month ago, 2 months ago, we would have been able to fill out the numbers, because we know the numbers off the top of my head. I guess
I'm going to interrupt you. Were you unaware that there was a deadline on October 31st to provide this information?
We knew, but yeah, of course we did.
Okay, and did you communicate to staff that you were not able to make that deadline?
Well, we did. We sent them something, and they looked at it, and it wasn't.
You sent it to them before the deadline?
Oh yeah, we sent something to them before the deadline that was not acceptable. So then they reached out to us and said, we need it this way or whatever, and then we got them some more stuff. So the bottom line is, I mean, November 1, November 10, as long as you get all the information, it's verified that we've spent it. I don't think the federal law disallows this to be accepted by the feds. And I'm ready to prove that in court, by the way.
I guess,
So-
one thing I would like to just make sure that we have some clarity on is, from my understanding and from what's been represented here, the staff has done a lot of work to help your organization. And so I really am uncomfortable with the implication that in some way the staff is the reason that this is creating a problem. Okay.
No, it's
I
not-
think, well, no, I'd like you to let me finish just for a second. Okay. When we've given you deadline after deadline and the things aren't getting in, and there's been a lot of technical assistance and staff members are working long past, 8 hours a day to try to help. I think it's really difficult for me, and I would say probably a lot of the rest of the commission, to hear that the reason why there's a problem is because of the staff in any way. So I just would like to say I'm protective of them. I'm protective of the work, and I'm of their work. And I will also say, I appreciate all the technical assistance they give you and that they give all organizations. Having said that, we still remain an oversight body, and our job is not actually to, is to help organizations when there are issues, but we are not your auditor. We are not your CFO. And so we need to have some ability to say, look, this isn't working. You're not able to get the materials together. So I just say that as coming from, more of a regulatory perspective on this, that's part of the concern I have with all of this. But I do want to let Michael make his point.
No, it's fine. I think you said exactly what I had in mind, but thank you.
I would say it takes two
Yes.
to tango. I admit that. It takes two to tango. That's always been the way it is. So, but it is,
Do you have a CFO? I'm just curious, who's handling all these who's handling all your reporting?
we have an accountant now. That's what happened.
Oh,
We
okay.
hired an accountant. We took steps to fix this, and that's why we hired Susan to do this work. And she's been getting everything to staff now. And we've been meeting with them to try to make sure that this stops. I mean, this is driving me up the wall. It's impeding my ability to function to do my job. I mean,
Can I also ask, I saw in the memo that the Eligibility Budget and Review Committee also had some concerns, and I just wanted to make sure I understood that side of it, and that's maybe more of a staff question.
I can speak to that, and then I would welcome either Erica, our lead on IOLTA EAF, and or Catherine, chair of that committee, or any other members. But yeah, there were similar concerns with, I think I would describe it in a nutshell, similar concerns with compliance and meeting deadlines and a pattern, as well as potential overall concerns about internal controls. There was an eligibility review conference, and there was a contingent back in when looking at 2024 IOLTA EAF eligibility, and there was a contingency plan put in place with expectations that those things would be met, and they'd have a year before 2025 applications go out to kind of fix some of those pieces. And I know that a vote was just taken at the latest EBR committee to schedule to kind of take another step and schedule a call with their board. But I think off the top of my head, that's where we are, and kind of some similar concerns on the IOLTA EAF side. But I'd welcome commissioners or Catherine to speak on that if I miss anything, or to correct me if anything was inaccurate.
Thanks, Rocio. I see Jason has his hand raised.
It's not responsive to Rocio's comment, but if no one else
Okay,
wants to
that's
speak,
fine.
I can still ask my question. Yeah, I guess this is a question for staff, and maybe it'll help me contextualize and maybe help other commissioners contextualize the situation here. But given that we've been talking about a significant degree of technical assistance provided and the nature of timelines and deadlines not being hit, or miscommunications or misunderstandings, et cetera, can you give me any insight as to the frequency or lack thereof of similar circumstances affecting any other grantees in HP or other grants and the degree of involvement staff has taken here relative to those other circumstances?
This is a unique case. This is the only instance or organization that I can think of right now. There have been some that have missed occasional deadlines, or a couple even where it's starting to look like a pattern that we will keep an eye on and elevate if that continues. And that's typically something that Jennifer, for HP or all of our committee coordinators, do keep an eye on and bring up. For IOLTA EAF, that was something that was just brought to EBR recently. And this is one, as you've heard, but it's been brought up in terms of providing the TA and still not getting to like the corrective action, or having the same issue over and over, where we have a new revision and there's another inaccuracy, something else needs to be corrected, and then we get a new revision to that and we see another issue. So just kind of the understanding, the underlying concern of lack of understanding of the requirements, in particular for federal grant. And so only in those instances, you know, as you see, even just from the record of it going to the committee and the organization being invited to speak to the HP Funds Committee directly on more than one occasion, it's now coming to the commission. So it has been a long time, kind of like a progression. But in terms of comparison, I think that this is a unique instance, I would say, across all of our grants, in terms of the extent of TA, the amount of staff, multiple staff being pulled in, and the number of hours.
Let's see, can I ask a question? And this may be something for you and Jennifer to think about. How long would it take to review the documents that came in yesterday?
We actually did look. I asked the team as well, just kind of in preparation, and to see.
By the way, I don't ask that in expectation that you would review everything by today. So
No,
that's not the implication. I'm just curious.
No, thank you. And that was something where, you know, we looked at whether that was feasible even for us to look at yesterday and try to scramble and work, you know, longer hours to try to have a better sense of it. But I think we estimated 3 to 4 hours to look at not just what was submitted, but then doing the analysis required in terms of comparing it back to the materials to ensure that we can substantiate based on the requirements of the CSR for this federal. And then, so assuming that we had what we needed, I think that's the question mark, that so far we haven't gotten to that point where we've gone through, you've heard, you know, multiple revisions and we still aren't there. So assuming that this was kind of tied out and cleaned up, I think 3 to 4 hours. Unfortunately, you know, can't say that we'd be confident that that would be the case, that there wouldn't be additional hours needed to do additional follow-up and revisions.
I have a question. It seems to me, if I understand it correctly, the crux of his defense is that there were 2 grants and they were handling it as one. If I'm correct in that, is that unusual? Do we have a number of other agencies that have 2 grants and they proceed accordingly and don't have these problems?
That's correct. This is a unique case. We have numerous, Jennifer, you probably know these numbers off the top of the head more than I do, of how many grantees we have that have both HP and FNIE too, HP3 formula and HP3 competitive, 2 federal.
Judge, I asked that specific question, even in the staff update between this meeting, I think it's like 70 something grantees.
And this is the one that we are elevating.
But I'm not clear I understood the answer, since they're saying that the confusion was because there are 2 grants, HP 1 and 2. Is this organization unique in that, or are there other organizations?
There are a lot of organizations
that have 2 grants, and you don't run into these problems.
Correct.
It's 70 something organizations that have
70 have 2 grants. And I think I heard threaten litigation if we deny this. Am I correct? Did I hear that right?
I just want to know what the due process rights are. That's all.
Well, you said I'll see you in court.
No, I mean, I don't understand. Do I have to mortgage my house? Is that what I need to do?
All right.
Yeah. I mean, we've already given all the information. We've done the work. We've provided the reports. Hopefully, look at the reports and everything is fine.
Sure. We have a few hands raised, so I do want to give people, and then we have, you know, more on the agenda. So I want us to start moving to a determination of what our next steps are, but let's let Michael, Efrain, and Diana have their comments, and then I have some suggested ideas on this. Go ahead.
So just wanted to address Judge Klein's question. As a part of what typically take place for grantees, there was also a monitoring visit for CCWO that occurred that I was a part of in May, and in that visit, one of the findings in the visit was that with respect to accounting and fund accounting specifically, that the organization commingled expenditure tracking for HP 2 and 3. That was unique in the situation where organizations who have both an HP 3 and HP 2, even through all the desk reviews that were performed currently, we hadn't seen that before. Yes, there may have been some questions on timesheets and in terms of like allocation worksheets, how they work, but we hadn't come across that unique situation where funds tracking were commingled, and so because there is no supplementation requirements for both, that became a very apparent worry for us, and we've worked with the organization to segregate expenditures for HP 2 and 3. So that in itself, I know took some time, but was very unique to this particular situation as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the context. Efrain, and then Diana.
Sure, thanks, Eric. And appreciate obviously the conversation. I know this is a tough one. And so, a couple of things. One is for me, having served on the re-grantor and administrator side in my philanthropy days with not just ARPA, which I see as way friendlier than the first iteration, which was the CARES Act dollars. It is difficult, but these desk audits and these reviews are really good and sufficient flags. So I think I still remain concerned about the lack of ability to take corrective action on it. And so the thing I will share though is that we'll look for staff guidance on, as we do take our action, what is the appropriate one in terms of whether compliance rules under 2 CFR allow us to even look at the information that was provided late after the close of 1031, and if so, whether maybe we're looking at something that is us taking an action that is more around claw back what needs to claw back. If you're able to look at the information you have, everything's closed, it's only what you have, and if you recommend it's not 140 but a smaller amount, then good. But the action being that you claw back what hasn't been substantiated. But I'm not sure on guidance on whether 2 CFR doesn't allow you anymore after 1031 to even look at the information that was provided per their guidance. That was it.
Thanks. That's something I think I had sort of a similar question, which is like, what is our obligations under the federal regulations and whether this is even something we are allowed to do. And so if staff has thoughts or comments on that, meaning if we were even allowed to kind of continue reviewing the documents. Diana.
Yeah, and I think even if we are, I think we've heard very clearly today that the timesheets, for example, were adjusted with the results in mind, right? Because there was no separation and commingling. We don't know if attorney one worked 2 hours on this project and 8 hours on the other one, or 4 and 4. And so even if they end up getting the math right, in terms of their results-oriented approach and trying to fix things, they didn't do it the right way the first time. And there's no way that they can really accurately go back and fix that today. And that's what I heard loud and clear. So even if the report looked perfect, I would still have significant concerns.
Thanks, Dana. I don't know whether Jennifer, Michael, or Rocio, if you guys have comments on that. Oh, Selena has her hand raised. Yeah, Selena.
I'm sorry, I have to switch to phone for a kid pickup in a minute. But I wanted to just quickly add, I think that this federal grant is challenging for a lot of organizations. I think State Bar staff have done a really great job with a lot of organizations that did not have timesheets that met the federal requirements. And although it seems like CCWRO is having more challenges than the most, largely related to their timesheets, I'm hearing from a lot of organizations that they've had real concerns about the timesheets, and they're implementing new timesheets even now for HP3 funding. So I just wanted to flag that this federal funding has been a challenge for a lot of organizations. And I think especially for those that didn't have a CFO or a full-time accountant on staff, it's taking a little bit longer to answer these questions from State Bar staff. So I wanted to give a teeny bit more of the scope that this has been a challenge. And if it is the case that the commission votes to ask CCWRO to return the disallowed amount, I think there should be some understanding of the financial impacts of the organization and how mechanically that would happen, because they're not an especially large organization, and they have spent the money and they have been audited, so it would have to pull from any reserves that they would have that could be put to other use.
Thanks, Selena. I guess the question in my mind is kind of, this goes back a ways to like what Jason raised, which is, what discretion do we have in this matter? Meaning, if there was a deadline to provide certain documentation to support it, and that was governed by the feds, we are not the originator of this grant, right? We are responsible for administering it according to certain guidelines as well. And I don't know the answer to that. So that's the question I have is, if there's not discretion on our end, then really the determination is, was it disallowed as of a certain date? If so, that's the course of what we need to execute on. If there is discretion, then we can talk through that. Dawn?
I'm not confident in this answer. I'm buying some time for the staff to look this up. I think that we actually do have discretion because, Rocio and Michael, maybe if you can remind us when we actually aggregate this information and give it to Judicial Council, because in my mind, I think that's at the point at which once we give it to Judicial Council, or once we give it to where it gets uploaded to Treasury, I would say this is me, and I'm not sure if this, I'm not confident this is right. I think at that point, that would be difficult for us to undo, but I don't believe we have done that yet. So can you guys walk us through like at what point if the information goes from us, Judicial Council, to Treasury?
Let me just ask you a quick question first.
Yeah.
Sorry, responsive to that. Yep. So do we have discretion with regard to what happens after a determination that the amounts were disallowable or disallowed? Or do we have discretion about whether they're disallowed, period, and making that determination? I think that's different, because if the law says disallowed costs, this is the result, then the exercise of discretion is simply determined whether or not this circumstance means disallowed, right? Yeah. If it is on the consequences of disallowed, it's a different scope of jurisdiction, right? Like we have the ability to say, yeah, they were disallowed, but we are going to exercise our discretion to be lenient or to take some other approach. As is a whole different scope of options that we would want to consider.
I think you're right. So let me answer that in a different way. If you actually make a determination that those are disallowed, we need to call back the money, because we will then be out of compliance. But I think there is a question of when is it mandatory? Right, it's a timing question, right? At what point is that determination done? Because they're going back and they're redoing things, right? And I think this is going to Diana, like, at what point do we feel confident, even if everything might be tied up? I'm not saying it is or it's not, but I think I'm trying to thread some comments together.
Yeah.
In terms of the question about, I think that's the right question where we're at now. And agree with if it is disallowed, there's clear, like, it needs to be returned. and kind of the, like, especially on the timing, the discretion on that piece. In terms of, Juan, your question about when it's been reported, it's been reported. And that goes back to Jennifer's piece about the October 31 deadline the HP committee had set was tied to the expenditure deadline. Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, but like for all grantees for that grant, because then we needed to turn that around and submit it to. But that's for the latest quarter. It is done on a more incremental basis and goes to JC. They submit it to the feds and then corrections. I think Jennifer walked through us. So maybe Jennifer, looks like you came off mute.
Sure. So it's actually a little bit more complicated, unfortunately. The quarterly reports were due for all grantees for expenditures on October 31st. That's absolutely correct. However, because of the reporting deadlines, we've been allowed to report expenditures a quarter in arrears. What that means is that we actually don't send that data to Judicial Council until the next quarter. So we have a little bit of time. However, I will caution the commission that to date, we have never allowed, to my knowledge, a grantee to correct quarterly reports once they've been submitted to us. And there are various reasons for that. This has been part of the reporting process for the entire HP3 grant. Grantees know that we report this data out very quickly. We report the data out, and it does take a bit of work to clean and assemble. So I just wanted to give that clarification and that caveat as well. Juan.
Thank you.
I just want to do a time check, and then I'm not saying that, I'm not suggesting this is what you should do, but I do want to put out an option, is that we have a December 13th meeting that that was just a placeholder meeting in case we had additional funds and we don't. So we were planning on canceling. I haven't actually hit the cancel. I didn't want you to be confused with this meeting. Again, I'm not suggesting that we defer, but I'm just giving you a time check that it's 3:30. Yeah. We don't really have any more voting items, but
right, we have a lot of
comfortable with moving today. We could keep the December 13th. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, Efrain.
Yeah, and this is in line with all this, I guess, and I don't know if it's a clarification or just to reintroduce the ideas that, one, my understanding is with respect to 2022 and the 147, that it's not as much as of a correction, but we never got that. And so it's like, we're just trying to allow them to submit it. And so I guess the proposal for me was, clearly set it that there is no more corrections. There is no more anything as of this point. We're saying we're going to claw back, but that the information that you do have in your possession, you've submitted and begun to review, or even if it was sorting the papers, the one we got late for 2022.
Yeah.
Taking a look at that and saying, does that change the amount? Is there some cleared costs there that you would reduce it or clear it, but that you've got it locked in, that's it. There is no more working, no more back and forth, and whatever that final verdict is, meaning our resolution today maybe doesn't have a specific amount, but could just trigger the clawback once you complete that sense that that we're saying whatever's not able to be cleared with the documents you received, even if they were after the 31st, that you could sort of move to adjust that number if needed, or leave it the same because none of what they submitted complied with the guidelines, and we still need to claw.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Jason. And then I have a suggestion.
Sorry, I've been hogging the mic. This kind of goes to a question Catherine asked early on. I'm kind of curious if we make a determination these are unallowable and therefore they have to be clawed back, right? Functionally, what happens from State Bar and State Bar staff perspective, considering the money has been spent, it's no longer there, right? What's the enforcement vehicle? I mean, is it a limited civil lawsuit pursuing the funds? I mean, what is the mechanism outside of withholding, future grants? I think that's, much more likely to be considered, but we couldn't claw back money that doesn't exist. You can't do that, right? So I'm curious how that would all work, because I don't think it will change what I decide to do relative to the motion. But it might mean that from a functional standpoint, making the motion isn't necessarily about the consequences so much as affirming in our responsibility of oversight that we have determined this is what is supposed to happen, right? These funds are unallowable costs, or these are unallowable costs, and therefore under this, under the code of regulations, they have to be returned, period. And then enforcing that is a whole different can of worms that is not necessarily up for decision. So I'm just curious about that.
Brady, can you take the enforcement question again? Because we've never been in a position where we invoice and people don't pay us back. So I don't know what then the enforcement mechanism is, to be honest with you. Brady, are you there, or Raul?
Sorry. I mean, we would certainly under our contract have, grounds for a, breach of contract action. I think we'd want to, in the event that they couldn't pay, probably seek guidance from, the federal sources as to, what our obligations or options are. The Code of Federal Regulations just says costs are disallowed. The grantee needs to return them. They don't, from what we've seen so far, spell out how that happens.
That's
but they
good
would be
enough an answer for me.
Our
Yeah,
contract with them.
got it. Perfect. Thanks, Brady.
Okay, Catherine.
So I guess where I am in part is I can see the amount of work that State Bar staff has done, and I appreciate the federal requirement. And I guess I'm left wondering if we don't take an action today to disallow it, and we have a meeting on December 13th, and they produce the documents that you've been trying to get, wouldn't we be better off? Because then you aren't in a position of trying to claw back money that you're probably not going to be able to get from a very small organization. So that's like, I think it's a very difficult position. And I think it's like you have an obligation once it's disallowed to do exactly what was said. But I guess it's a timing question to me of, are we better served in the end by saying this is taken up on whatever the date in December is and trying to get the organization to produce the documents that's satisfactory? You got some of them, you got some additional information. I have no, you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is anyway. Like just the end result seems as important as taking an action today, if there's a way to document it.
Yeah. Okay. I think, Jacqueline. And then after that, I think I have a proposal and then I think we should go. Jacqueline.
Sorry, Erica,
Yeah.
I don't want to cut anyone off. I just wanted to note that Kevin also has his hand raised again.
Okay. Jacqueline and then Kevin, and then we got to stop because we have a lot of other updates that we need to do.
I think that, referring back to what Brady just said, and that was reiterated by someone else, how about we take a look at the federal guidelines and see if there's something there about next steps when we, if we decide that they have to return the funding, the money, then what are the federal regulations, regulatory guidelines on how that's done? Do we have a lot of flexibility there? Or do we have to just follow the federal laws?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Kevin, last comment.
Okay, I guess the only thing I was going to say is December 13th would be a good idea. I support that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds as if there's still some open questions. Michael, yeah, what's up?
So I I know we haven't touched upon this point. We sort of mentioned it sort of briefly in more of a passing methodology. We had talked about, you know, CCWRO submitting multiple spend down plans with the latest iteration. What I wanted to sort of point out, that's I feel is relevant, is in that spend down plan, with respect to the amount that was unspent, that's being proposed to be sort of taken care of over the next year or so, it includes about $120,000 of unspent funding for HP3 from 2022. So
Wait, what?
So let me clarify, because I think it's really hard for the commissioners to follow. So they had to submit a spend down plan. In that spend down plan, they are proposing to spend $120,000 into 2023. So I can't speak on why they did that. But so if you stop if you only accept, say, even if the documents that came through now, and we say, hey, that new expenditures now look good for 2022, it now does not reconcile with the spend down plan. So I think this goes back to Diana's point in that there is probably a way to make it look, and then what actually happened, because things are just it's not reconciling. So at some point, yeah, if you give unlimited time, it will reconcile. But if you ended it now, even if we went back and looked at what was submitted for 2022 that just came in a day ago, it will not reconcile with the spend down plan.
And
Okay,
this was
I understand that,
Jennifer
but
had referenced about that. The part of it was based on a budget modification that we haven't yet received, a request that we haven't yet seen. So I think that kind of ties back to what Jennifer presented and what Michael's mentioning now, that the spend down plan, there's funds we haven't seen. It just implies that they're going to at some point submit a request to modify their budget that's going to come back to HP.
Wait though. Can I ask? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm hearing the same thing. Are you telling me that there's $120,000 that wasn't spent that's sitting in an account that is planned to be spent down later?
We don't know, but that's what the spend down plan says. So we don't know like the intent. We don't know if it's like for anticipating that we weren't going to approve this, but then doing a budget modification. We don't know.
Okay, all right.
We're not gonna, yeah.
Okay, I sorry, but when Michael said that, I was like,
but it's worthwhile mentioning.
Somewhere?
You know, just because like we're talking about the
no, I understand
considerations and cash flows and so forth, and you know, I think how we arrived at the amount was looking at in comparison of the organization's accounting records for HP3.
So I think my suggestion, given kind of what everybody's talking and that this is continuing to go, is that we do hold the December 13th one. I think it might be worth looking to see what was submitted. The other thing is we've raised some questions about what we are allowed to do, what we are required to do by the feds. And so I think that would be worth teasing out a little bit so that we have a little bit of clarity on that. I will say, not necessarily today, but on December 13th, I would also propose sort of a significant amount of oversight, regardless of what we ultimately decide on this, for CCWRO, given all of the issues. And maybe there's an opportunity for more in-person monitoring. You know, we've done this in the past, more meetings with a commissioner and staff. I know that's a lot of time, but like, we're an oversight body, and I think we need to like, you know, and I think, frankly, I think we need to talk to the board and have the board having a conversation with us, because right now we're hearing everything from the staff, and the board, you know, sounds like they're shocked, but I don't know what they're shocked about. They're shocked about us. They're shocked about what's happening with the organization. Does anyone have an objection to us, you know, getting some additional information and some answers and doing the December
clarification? So we will go and we'll look at the materials, but are we going to allow them to, like, because where it stands now, it does not reconcile, right? You have something that's a spend down plan that's going to be in conflict, even if the expenditures report now say 100% spend down. Right. Do you want us in between now and just to try to reconcile, or just present to you as is, whatever it is?
My inclination is they've brought in the information, that's what we're gonna go with, and if it doesn't reconcile, we'll deal with it then. But let's see what, Diana Frayne. Yeah, Diana. Or, sorry. Efrain, go ahead. And then we'll have Diana.
I think you hit on it. I was just gonna share that, we're dealing with 2022. I think in terms of in-persons and I mean, I just feel like, and you kind of got to it, is like, I'm supportive of what you've got now. We need to look at 2022 and close it. I've done a lot of ARPA funding. 2 CFR is very explicit, very clear. And I believe that what's going to come back to us is that if they can't pay for it, we're the pass-through entity, the state has to pay for what they don't pay.
Well, those are some of the things that,
exactly.
But so my point is, I'm supportive of punting to the 13th, but in terms of the clarification that I'm not supportive, I don't think we should continue to try and work and massage 2022. We're almost 2 years.
No. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Diana?
I think we should take an action as soon as possible. I think that we are an oversight body and we make rules and we make resolutions, and I think the writing is really quite on the wall. And I frankly think that we're doing the organization a disservice by punting it and having them not know with certainty what is or is not going to happen. I have serious concerns regardless of the further investigation or the further documentation that could be submitted. And the questions that I've heard posed that people are asking about are frankly on the enforcement side of things, and deal with the federal, agency sort of back and forth, which is beyond our jurisdiction. I think we do have a job to do today. And I'm not sure what we need that we don't have today to do it.
I will tell you, this is the thing I don't think we have is, given some of Mr. Aslanian's comments, I want to make sure that we are on solid footing about our ability to claw this back, given the federal rules.
And that to me is, again, beyond our jurisdiction, right? We make a resolution that they didn't meet our specific guidelines, and the rest of it is frankly up to others.
Okay. Garcia?
I was just going to offer, you mentioned potentially the follow-up conversation with their board, just to share, which I think I mentioned earlier, that the Eligibility and Budget Review Committee will be speaking with, or staff will be speaking with CCWRO's senior leadership and board. That is an action that EBR wanted us to take. So if there's an opportunity, just wanted to mention, maybe we can consolidate. But Catherine, I don't know if you wanted to say something related to that.
Yes. I mean, that was the action we took related to some late submissions on a completely different grant. So I don't want to get muddied, but I think it's appropriate to combine them. And I think the idea was that there would be commission members and staff that were meeting with the board, at least on the item that we had raised. So I would encourage that. I think there's a different message when there is the staff has spent a lot of time, and I think there's a different message when there's a commission member. We can send Diane in.
All right, yeah, Diana, are you volunteering?
She was volunteered. I'll go with her, but she was volunteering. I feel like she's very clear. So she's not on eligibility and budget, but she could do the other.
Yeah, Jason? And then we gotta move on. We've so much more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know we have to move on. I gotta say, after all the discussion, adding a minor tweak to the proposed resolution, I'm with Diana that I could support a resolution that says, we find that there is an unallowable cost, and therefore whatever the consequences are for that cost, for that unallowable, will be what they are. I would be willing to support that without needing to go very much further, or needing another meeting. But that's just where I'm at right now, based on what I've heard and the lack of a deviation from what the facts are today to what they'll be in December. It's going to be the same facts.
Okay. I mean, look, if you want to make that motion, like, we can just do an up or down vote on it. If it's got support, it's got support. If it doesn't, then we can make the decision.
Well, why don't we start with a motion about whether or not we're going to decide it today or not?
Yeah, that was the first on the floor.
I think that's the first motion is, do you want to decide it today or not?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't planning to do that as a formal motion, but we can. Okay.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that changes it for me because I don't have clarity on why what exactly is to happen between now and the punting to the 13th.
Think it's to allow staff to look at the information that was submitted late and figure out, are there costs within that are in fact allowable with the appropriate documentation, which would then seemingly reduce the organization's liability for the amount that has to be repaid. And I operated, I think, 11 federal grants, and in the end, any money owed has to be paid either by unrestricted funds or the cognizant state agency that's responsible. So I personally think it's to the commission's benefit to try and reduce the amount that is owed, because otherwise the bar is going to have to figure out how it's going to be paying for this out of some admin cost, or I don't know. That's the part I don't know. That's why I was asking those questions. And I appreciate that's enforcement, but I think there's a piece where we should try and reduce the liability that ultimately might land on the commission. And by taking a very short break, I mean, it's like, a month till we have a meeting set, and either there is something or there isn't something. I don't know which way it's going to go. And then that's it. So that's why I support doing that.
Yeah, I just felt like there wasn't a clear directive to staff, and we were just
yeah. I think that I thought I appreciate that.
Yeah, and with that comment, Catherine, I do actually think that maybe we are better served with so I'm kind of changing my mind based on your comment.
Yeah,
so
I
will
think
make a motion that we postpone a decision until the December 13th meeting,
such that staff can determine the scope of unallowable cost.
Staff can determine the scope of an allowable cost and provide some information about kind of the enforcement.
I'll second. Thanks, Angie. Dwan, is there anything you need to say?
Well, I don't think we need to make a motion if you're just going to defer it to the December. But I was going to say, if you are going to claw back money, I don't want the last to be the staff. I want it to roll back to the commission so that we are all in agreement.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agreed. I am not comfortable with a motion where where the number gets floated out there. Yeah. We need to have us approve it and be aware of like the consequences of that. All right. There is a motion.
I'm sorry. I made a motion just to get us to a place where we could decide something. I'm happy to withdraw it if we don't need it, but I'm also happy to vote on it because I'm leaving in 7 minutes and I'm going to be sad not to hear all the updates.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. It doesn't sound like we need a motion. Let's just push it. We'll do December 13th, but the clarity on this is we're not asking staff to go do more TA on this. Review what you've got. We'll talk about it in December. And then there may be some other questions about our authority as far as what disallowed means and when we can, if things are coming in late, does that prohibit us from still disallowing it? And I'd like answers to that question, right? As far as the feds. So, and then I
encourage a meeting with the board around this. Yes. I feel like this is really serious and we don't quite understand all the consequences. I mean, I just feel like there's an obligation.
Absolutely.
Staff an obligation to keep their board in the loop. And I feel like we do. And I'm happy to be part of that or to assign it to someone else. I do think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Perhaps with a letter. All right. Great. Let's move it to the 13th. We'll be in touch. Thank you to staff. I know you guys have worked a lot on this, and do not take our postponing this as any indication like us trying to undermine any of the recommendations that you have on this. I think there's just a few questions that we want to just have some clarity on before, and very, very grateful as always for the work here, and really do think that, I don't think we should be spending hundreds of hours, on TA for anybody, right? There's, that's not an acceptable way for us to handle things. So going forward, we'll definitely, hopefully with our strategic plan, have better information on that. All right, let's try to get as many updates done as we can.
Could we at least talk about the meeting dates, which
Yes, I was gonna,
yes.
I was gonna propose, I can shrink, I'll just handle the rest for everybody. With the exception of Melanie's judicial counsel appointment, I'm just gonna shrink some things just so you get the highlights in the next 5-10 minutes. For 5.1, as you all recall, we had a package of rules committee recommendations that went out for public comments. There were 2 that came back, one from LAC and one from our program. One had some, I guess, some feedback, but they weren't kind of on point exactly with any changes. So we're moving forward with advancing it to the Board of Trustees. Erica's already actually pre-drafted a memo. It's been posted, and we will be presenting on that next week at the Board of Trustees. Then just a couple good news, and then we'll go straight to the admin calendar. IOLTA revenues doing really well. We have surpassed what we projected this time last year. We're about 145, 150 million dollars. We will send an email update to the community to let them know. I will then forward that email to you, so then you have a little bit more information about interest rates. That's all good news. Okay, so administrative. I'm going to share my screen and flash for you the 5 commission meeting dates, and then walk you through that. That document also includes the committee also meeting dates for the year. I didn't want to confuse you, so I wanted to go over them, at least the commission meetings. Next week, though, what we will do in this office is we will start to send out calendar invites. It's really important that you accept or do not accept it. That is how we know if we have comfortable quorum for each of those meeting dates. Okay, so let me share my screen. And I will send this out as the document as well after this commission meeting. Okay, so I'm sorry, can you see this? Okay, February 2nd would be the first meeting of the year, but this is not a normal meeting. This is what we are proposing be the strategic planning meeting in person at the State Bar's LA office. We timed it from 10 to 3. So for people that are traveling, you could fly in and out the same day. If you need a hotel room, let us know. If you're not already on Concur, the system, our staff will work with you to book hotel and make travel arrangements for that day. We are hoping to get 100% participation. There will be a Zoom link, but with strategic planning, if you're not going to be in the room and in person, you're not going to be able to be as participatory, and we want you to be there and be participatory. So please try to make it, and let us know if you can't, because like if there's a large number of people that can't, we might want to move that meeting date. And then there are regular meetings, right? March 29th, they're all on Fridays. So the first, from March 29th to November 8th, are a regularly scheduled meeting. Erica and I added this December 12th meeting. We've been adding it the last few years because there's been like sometimes new anticipated money and then sometimes issues like this. So now I think it's good practice just to have that December meeting, just be on the books, but just know that this is a placeholder. The other ones need to stick. Again, please look at the calendar invite next week. I will send this out. And then I'm not going to go over the committee because those respective committees, the committee coordinators run the dates through the committee chair, but we'll go through the same process. We'll send out the calendar invite, respond to us with a yes or no. That's how we know we have quorum.
Okay. And you're going to send out this list, just some of us.
I'm going to send out this Word document today. So you have that, and you should match that with your calendar invites. I know it's really tedious, but we really ask you to do that because look at all these meetings. I mean, if not, I feel like somebody's going to miss a meeting or something. It's a lot of meetings.
Will do.
Okay. I'm not going to share. I was going to go over the committee assignments. I'm not going to share that. I'm just going to send that out. I'm also going to send out the closed commission roster that has all the information for each, your contact information for each other, if you wanted to contact each other to talk about non-substantive issues. We don't post that closed version of the roster. What's on like the State Bar website is just your name and who you're appointed by. The one that's going to be circulated is has your phone number and your address. Please don't share it widely. That's just for your use if you wanted to contact with commissioners. So I think that that's all the administrative updates. We have 2 reports that we keep having to push off. I'm not going to suggest that we're going to put on December 13th, but we really for March, that March meeting, it'll go. So I tried to do that really quickly. I think I hit everything, but staff let
Thanks.
me know if there's something that I did not hit. Okay, and then Melanie.
Thank you, Dawn.
Then it's just Melanie's report at the end.
Okay, I'll see if I can do it in 30 seconds.
Well done.
Okay, we've received your annual reports, IOLTA Partnership Consumer Debt, HP 3 and 4 reports, and we will be providing them to the Judicial Council at the January 2024 meeting, as well as submitting them to the Department of Finance by the January 1st deadline. You've received your funding for the CARE Act, yay. We are finalizing the contracts for IOLTA and Partnership and HP3 and hope to have them fully executed by late this month. CARE Act updates, 7 courts are open to receiving petitions. Only 1 has not so far. Interestingly, most of the petitions are coming from families and not from agencies, which is the opposite of what everyone expected. And plans are being made for bringing courts on board and getting them launched. And we actually already had our kickoff meeting. We attended your Harnessing Emerging Trends event, and it was lovely. And we had a great opportunity to meet the partners and the programs. So thank you very much for that. We submitted recommendations to fill the vacancy created by the retirement of Louise Fightmaster, and our recommendations will be reviewed and approved by the Council's Executive and Planning Committee, and then the Chief Justice, and the nominees will be then notified, and we will have a new commissioner hopefully in place by January 1st. And we are updating the term lengths from 3 years to 4 years for Judicial Council appointments made to the Commission after January 1st, 2022, to align with the amendment made on to the Business and Professions Code, section 6210.5 sub 3, that says Commissioner's term for extension. And that's my report. Sorry, it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
No problem. Thanks, Melanie. Anything else before we go? All right. Thank you for the very robust discussion today. Sorry, I went a couple minutes over. Thank you for being up for doing this in December. I will be probably wearing a Christmas sweater to add some cheer to our December meeting. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all in about a month.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good long weekend.